And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Semi Perfect, presented to you by Triggering Chaos.
So,
Yes?
did you invite a third person? Because someone's just coming out of the ground over there.
Is he red or blue? Is he red or blue?
Orange?
Hello.
Oh, okay. It's just ice. Okay, good.
They didn't ask a question. Red or blue?
I
Yes.
am purple.
Shit. I don't
Don't
know what the
worry.
manual said to do
I'll
about
help
that.
you. I'll help you until I get bored, and then I may stab you in the back. But that's okay.
Didn't know
I
there was a
mean,
purple ring.
there is now.
Yeah, throwback for those who played Dark Souls 3.
Oh boy.
That would not be me, because I'm the Souls newbie here.
Oh,
Indeed.
well, you're in for a jolly adventure with jolly cooperation, my friend.
Today's
I
episode is Semi Perfect Elden Ring.
Yeah, I totally believe this is going to be a complete walk in the park. If said park was filled with mouse traps and angry bears and somehow bears that were on fire.
Well, I did bring fire at one. And I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm the Souls newbie here. I've only ever played Elden Ring. I've tried Dark Souls 3. I own Bloodborne because I think I got it for free.
I think
Yes, it
also.
was on PSN for free at one point.
Yeah.
So I grabbed that. And I'm going to say it here. It does live up to the legacy of ridiculously hard, but in the fair kind of way.
Now there are the
It-
challenges and some unfair tactics. That's never
yes,
going to
but
be.
as a whole, I will say that, yes, I do think the game, at least Elden Ring, feels like an uphill fight that you can win.
Mm-hmm.
I've played games where it's uphill fights that all of a sudden become a sheer cliff over your head, and I'm like, how am I supposed to climb that?
Yes, I can name one right off the top of my head, and that is Ninja Gaiden boss. That wasn't even a cliff at that point. You were climbing a mountain,
Now you talking
trying
the
to win.
you're talking the NES trilogy or the
No,
3D
I'm
trilogy?
talking Neo. There is a DLC for Neo 1, and
Oh,
you fight not Ryu Hayabusa, but his ancestor. And it is
oh,
up mountain battle because he does not let off of you, and one misstep equals certain death.
Mm-hmm.
fun. No,
Yeah.
So,
but so how did you guys get into the Souls franchise? Let's just start with that.
go ahead, Ice. You're the guest. You go first.
Oh, why? Thank you. I'll be sure to stab you last.
Not if I stab you first.
Oh, damn it!
I'm
I
just
got
gonna.
into it through Demon Souls. Actually, when it was released on the PS3, a buddy of mine came over to my house one day, and he said, "Hey, Ice, I got this game, Demon Souls. How would you like to try it out?" All right, fine, let's go for it. And we popped it in his PS3, started playing it, and I fell in love with it ever since. And I already knew the company from Armored Core series, so I already knew what to expect.
Yeah,
Some that, and I
from
did hear about Kingsfield, which was that's what the Soul series was the successor from.
hmm From Software is very much well known for their uh, difficulty.
That's
And
one
there,
way of
Oh,
putting it.
there are way worse things your company can be known for,
Indeed.
and everyone just looks over at Blizzard.
you know what's
Yeah.
funny about that? You mentioned that
Hmm?
EA used to be the worst company in America, and then
Yeah,
Blizzard took that mantle very quickly.
very
Yeah.
quickly.
It's kind of unnerving
And
how quickly they did that.
just as a side note, EA did not give up that throne easily, though.
No, they
Oh
did
no,
not.
no,
But
they did not.
And
the
also, why would you want to be in a race for that throne? But those two companies clearly are.
can I just
I
say,
know.
Blizzard kind of took it faster because of the shit that was going on behind the scenes to me than was actually going on with their development.
Oh no, EA
Honestly,
also has
that's
a lot.
what. Yeah,
Uh,
EA
uh,
is just as bad.
yeah, it's one of the worst companies to work for. Is what it was winning awards for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in fact, that they held that mantle since I think it was 2007
Yes.
up to
It was.
2021.
Yes, they were indisputably, and this is like including other famous American corporations such as various phone company,
Yeah,
which
company that shall not be named.
Disney.
Which, as a Canadian, I'm just up here going, "Wow, I thought my phone companies were terrible."
But
Oh man, ours are horrible.
I actually got into it because Ed might remember way back. I actually used to work for GameStop part-time seasonal,
Oh yeah, you did.
and I was
Oh.
looking. And what they did is they let you borrow some of the games from the store. I think they stopped this practice, but once in a while you get one game. You signed it out that you had it, like a copy,
Hmm.
and you could take it home and play it so that you would have experience with the game in case customers asked about it.
That's good business, in my opinion.
And I was looking through the catalog. I'm like, I got this chance to try a game for free. I'm like, what the hell? So no matter what I pick, it's free.
Yeah.
And I can just bring it back if I don't like the next workday and try something else. And I just saw the title, I saw the cover of it, and I'm like, you know what? I need to get back with my PS3. I've been playing my Nintendo systems too much. This could be a good chance to get back with my PS3. And lo and behold, I'm still getting splattered all over the place.
You know what's actually funny about that was the Souls series, besides Bloodborne, has the same type of bland cover as Final Fantasy OG7.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
Also, the Souls franchise is in a weird limbo state because of Demon Souls owned by Sony, but the rest of the Souls franchise is helped published by Bandai Namco and Sony did the same thing with that horror game not too long ago, the one with the Wendigos.
Oh yes, yes.
They own that
Yeah.
game. They don't own the franchise.
Yeah, they own the first one.
Yeah, it's weird.
So Sony could at any point make a Demon Souls without From Software.
They made the remake.
could.
I
Yeah,
don't
they did the
know.
remake, and they are it was rumored, and this was about 4 years ago. It
Mm.
was rumored that they did want to move forward with making a Demon Souls 2,
Mm.
but nothing has ever come of it.
Probably because Bandai Namco is giving From Software better deals with their work on the Soul stuff.
Well, the thing with that is when Demon Souls was made,
Mm.
for some odd reason, Sony made them an offer to buy that game franchise from them. And they were okay with selling Demon Souls. And they turned around and made Dark Souls in its place.
Yep.
So then they made Dark Souls 1. And then when they were finished with that, they started making Bloodborne. So they let another company or another division in From Software to make Dark Souls 2. That's why if you play both games, they're completely different because two different teams worked on them all together.
That explains a lot.
Yes,
makes sense
so
for development because obviously you want to work on a whole bunch of things at once. You can't put all your developers on one project. So it's good to have a B team.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and that's another thing because also Bloodborne wasn't a launch game for the PS4, but it came out
It might as-
shortly after the PlayStation 4 had launched because they
might
were
as well.
already
It's
making
one of those games that's
Yeah.
synonymous with the system.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it was aimed to be, but From Software is definitely one of those companies that go, we're sorry, this product is not fully baked yet. We're going to let it, finish baking before we throw it out, even though we could patch it.
Yeah, because they want you to have a complete experience
Mm-hmm.
instead of a broken one, as we've been seeing from companies here as late.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'll give games like Elden Ring. Even God of War gave you the complete game, not to say any spoilers.
Yes, I will give that to Santa Monica. They did an excellent job by giving you a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this game also did something different compared to a lot of the Soulsborne games.
It copied Breath of the Wild.
Yes,
As
this
every
game
single reviewer says, and you just stare at them going like, things can be
is
like each other
open world.
without being copied.
Yes, so a little bit of lore dump for you guys real quick on that, and those listening or watching later.
Mm-hmm.
This is indeed the first completely open world Soulsborne title.
And I'm just showing off the map a little bit while you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Demon Souls, you actually picked a stage to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Souls 1, you could go anywhere, but you had to go through a direction.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I want to go to Grave Lord Nitro. But I have to go backwards from the opening of the game. You're gonna get the crap kicked out of you, sure,
Yeah.
but you
Everything
can
here,
go
the,
there.
yeah, the difficulty in this game, I don't believe it scales with you, but it does kinda in a sense.
It the way the difficulty is set in the Souls games is certain areas are more meant for higher level.
Hmm.
The beginning areas are going to be more around level 1 to 5, 1 to 10,
Yeah,
so on and so forth.
your numbers must be this high to pass, but they'll openly let you try it.
Oh yes, there's plenty of level 1 no hit run completions
Yeah,
on YouTube.
some of them done with the Donkey Kong bongos.
Yep,
Screw you!
one guy actually beat Demon Souls 2 with a Guitar Hero still
Yep,
controller, which I thought
someone
that was amazing in
someone
itself.
someone did with a bunch of bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
So
gonna say this. As someone who's only just entered the Souls franchise, the fan base around it is one of the more interesting ones to observe.
They are.
Be-
And
indeed.
generally, despite the fact that the Souls franchise is synonymous for kicking the crap out of you almost nonstop, most of the fans are quite jovial, nice to each other, willing to lend a hand. They'll troll the fuck out of you when they get the chance, but nobody's on the lines of get out, except for a handful of people I've seen with this game being too easy, ruin game. There are new people playing. I didn't want new people playing.
there is. How do I put this? The
Madness?
get good moniker.
Yes.
And that goes for and against it at the same time, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yes, the whole get good scrub.
Yeah.
Now,
See, when they add scrub to it, you generally can tell they're not one of the nicer ones. When they just said get good, they're just being lazy.
yeah. Now, on the
Yes,
other
because
hand,
there's certain factors in the game
mhm,
Yes.
that you need to nail down
Yep.
before you continue forward. Like you want to learn your dodging, you want to learn your
yeah,
parrying, so on and so forth, because those can be a detriment. And
Yep.
we'll get into it later, but I can actually break down invincibility frames and what.
mhm.
I
But
cannot. And
the
I'm not expected to because I'm still new to
yeah,
this. But the breaking down invincibility frames for dodging is one of the more interesting things, and I understand that's a I have to learn. But most of the fan
Yes.
base, when you come to a brand new boss you've never fought before, they don't get mad at you for not knowing the boss's, animations or tells. You just got here. You're gonna die.
Oh
That's the
yes.
thing. You are going to die.
mm-hmm,
Nobody starts off doing the no-hit banana controller run.
because
No,
you have no idea
it
when to
might be
dodge.
their. It might be honestly when they start doing stuff like that. That's more along the lines of, "Hey, I've already beaten this 14 times. I
Yeah,
already know what's going to be where, how
Mm-hmm.
it's going to attack what by the time I get here."
it's the chasing the heroin high, basically. The first time you play this game, it's such a rush. Second time, there's diminished results. So you do a different run with a more challenge to it. And by the time you've got the game completely mastered, the only way you can challenge yourself is if you literally cripple yourself by crippling your controller.
Yeah,
Yes, or deciding I'm not going to go above a certain level.
Do complete challenge runs. Um, there's a lot of people I know who do both Nuzlocke runs and Dark Soul runs.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah,
how do these cross over? And then you realize, oh, that's how they cross over.
yeah. Insanity. It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. So,
So,
and yes,
anyway,
this the base, not the entire story, the base of this world was written by George R. R. Martin.
mm-hmm.
Which I
Which
don't know
he
how.
needs to finish his last book.
Basically,
I'm,
from what I
this
understand.
is this is also my first George R. R. Martin product I've ever enjoyed
From what I
because I
understand, George R. R. Martin wrote the lore of the world before it all went to hell, and then the game developers just pretty much went to hell with it. From my understanding,
that sounds fun.
which is an
Yes,
interesting concept.
It is.
yeah, he wrote the baseline story, and then they took their liberties with it to
Yeah,
morph it and change it into what it's become, which
yeah.
is actually the beauty of the Soulsborne
Mm-hmm.
franchise.
Hmm.
Because each game, there is a story that is being told. But unlike a traditional game, it's not being told directly to the player, so you'll spend more time confused.
Yeah, you're not gonna walk into a town and talk to every NPC to find out the backstory. There's no welcome to Corneria. There's just
I like swords.
you're here. You're here. Figure it out, motherfucker.
And that's one of the things
Yes.
I like about this community because it comes together to find the details, look for the clues, make this story explain itself because we are clueless.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, funny you say that. Being clueless, I was that when I was playing Demon Souls. When you beat the Dragon Slayers, Schmo and Ornstein,
Oh God.
when you get to Guinevere, the boob goddess.
Even I know the joke Amazing Chests Ahead.
Yes. The funny thing about that is she's not real. She's an illusion.
There was a Guinevere, yes.
No,
Really, I
is
thought
a
the
Gwen.
no. I thought
Gwen.
he was
No,
using her. I thought she it did exist, but she wasn't there at that location.
no, she never existed.
Oh, that's
So when you go into the other path, if you kill Guinevere and you plunge and Orlando into darkness, there is a path that opens up that you can go into, and you fight Gwyn, a very feminine looking male. Well, you find out when you read, like, I think it's his armor. You find it's something of his, you have to beat him, and you read it, and you find out that the king wanted a daughter, but he had a son. But he raised the son like a daughter.
huh.
So the compromise that Gwyn came up with was to make the illusion of Guinevere. So the dad gets his wish, kind of, in a way.
Fine parenting. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm all
it's
for,
You learn something
raising
every
someone
day.
as the gender they are, but I'm also not for forcing a gender on someone.
yes, but it made for a very interesting
Oh,
story
yes, yes, yes,
because you
yes.
have two characters that are the same.
Also, I wish I had brought a bag of chips to listen to you two back and forth about this, because that's what the Souls franchise is to me. I'm sitting here going, huh, people have already figured out the story. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this.
Yeah.
Yes, I found out because it was pointed out to me when I started reading the forums, and
I
then I actually went to myself and read the armor.
and we will
Mhm.
try to avoid any and all spoilers because
Well, yeah, that's what we try to do. We want you to enjoy this game. As a side note, while I'm still new to this, I'm not really enjoying how I'm experiencing this environmental storytelling. This is a me problem, but it feels too obscure at places. Like, I don't want an NPC to tell me, hey, this is the backstory, but I kind of want to be told I should check more armor and have a better way of reading these armors.
a prime
Yes.
example of that is the Golden Guy quest.
Ah,
Because
yes, Golden Mask.
yeah, remember that guy that was standing on the bridge? I was just pointing at the tree.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
I figured
Yes,
as much, but I have no way how to
he
interact with this, so I'm
he
just.
is based on your faith.
Oh,
You
Hmm.
have to have, I think it's 30 faith.
And you have to have that faith guy from the round table go on a journey.
Yes.
oh,
So the one of the biggest things with the Souls franchise, even Elden Ring, is certain quests can only be activated if a certain character has moved locations or you've exhausted all dialogue with them on the first or second meet.
Hmm.
okay.
Like like the faith guy in the round table. You have to exhaust all his dialogue at the round table. So he, as Soul said, he tells you he's going on a journey. Well, when you find Golden Mask, you find him, you rest at the bonfire that's like not too far off from him, and the guy will be there saying how
Hmm.
he's found Golden
Yeah, there's a
Mask.
point between a certain location and Golden Mask. You find him again, talk to him, rest, and he'll be right next to Golden Mask, and then you'll start another quest with the Golden Mask.
Yes, but you
Huh.
have to have the faith level to do it.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
it's the same with I think there's a in the other prior Souls games when you go to be a mage, you had to have a certain intelligence level to even activate their quest.
This is just the more tedious version of a thing I disliked from another Bandai Namco RPG franchise, the Tales of series. So how
Ah,
often do
yes.
I have to go backwards to a town and talk to a random NPC 4 or 5 times before I can continue a random side quest that's not even related to that character? Sometimes it feels like
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
oh,
a thing.
it's
One
a JRPG thing that I do not like, but I still generally prefer JRPGs over Western RPGs.
Same. Ditto.
one of the
Mm.
things I do like about this is even with the Soulsborns, Your character is how you want to build them.
Yes. When I was watching Soul play this game, he had a random person helping him who fired a giant blue energy shot that was basically a Kamehameha. And I'm like, I can learn that? Oh, okay, I want to try that. And that's how I got into Bloodborne, is I saw one cool attack and a chance to help my friend, and I'm like, oh, I want to try that. And Soul Bobby Bloodborne, not Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and
Elden.
that's how I got into the game. I built a mage, and I really enjoy mage. I haven't finished the story yet because, um, side note, there have been way too many games come out this year.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
Yes, this year has been amazing for video games. Even if
We
you don't like a lot of the games that came out, there's been a lot of
Mhm,
games that come out that like, hey,
mhm.
if you don't like this batch, here's a batch you'll probably pick a
Mhm.
title from.
Now, the
Too.
way.
Which is to be fair. I mean, last 2 years we didn't get many games because of you know what. So this is a lot of games
Yes.
finally coming out that were either
Mhm.
delayed or just they're always going to come out around this time.
Yeah. Now,
Now we are still going to bump into a couple of games released this year and next year that have problems because of COVID developing.
Mhm.
Yes, good old beer bug.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, the way this works out is that each Soulsborne game usually gives you an option of classes.
Mhm.
This is not permanent. This is pretty much just your starting equipment and where your stats are started location.
Mhm.
Like how much strength you had, how much vitality. But
I
once
started off with a mage. At any point after leveling up, I could just start dumping all my stats into HP,
Mhm.
make myself some sort
Yes.
of mage tank.
But I will spin a little wisdom on you
Hmm.
and soul
Mhm.
and those listening. There are soft and hard caps in this game.
Oh,
Yes,
yes, I talked to him about this.
your stats can go to 99, but you're not getting the returns.
Yeah, there are diminishing returns. I've sort of noticed
Yes.
that, but I've also noticed that sometimes the diminishing returns start happening, and you still need a higher stat in order to equip a weapon or equip a spell.
Yes, I think I want to say the highest spell in the game is like 56.
Yes,
Somewhere around
So
there.
and I feel like
55 is technically the hard cap.
yeah, you do still get more, but it's more like you get half of what you
I
used to.
think the soft cap is somewhere
Actually,
around
it's
70.
uh no, the soft cap is around 40.
Mm,
That's when you're still getting the most amount of points you can
Okay.
out of that. And then the hard cap is you're getting like
Okay, I
let's
had
just
it
say you
backwards.
get
Okay.
yeah, let's just say you get like 6 points. We'll just throw a random number out there.
yeah,
You get 6 points out of strength, and then after you hit 40, that 7 points gets cut down into 5 points.
yeah,
Then it gets cut down to 2 points,
Mhm.
and then it's just 1 point after that, or it's 0 points. You're just
yeah.
raising it, and it's doing nothing.
Yeah, I imagine like someone with strength 99 is still better than someone with strength 80, but only by 9 points rather than 19 points.
Possibly
Yeah,
because
we don't know the
because
exact numbers,
oh
and
no,
I'm a
there's exact numbers. There's
oh
exact numbers.
I said we right now don't know the exact
Oh
numbers,
yes, yes, yes,
but I don't want to know these exact numbers. I want to experiment with that. And
Mhm.
one
yes.
of the things I do like is after a while you can respect your character. If you're not enjoying being a tanky damage sponge and you want to be a long range bow fighter, you can do that. You can respect yourself,
This is one of the other Soulsborne games that made ranged bows and everything more of a combat option.
which makes sense with how open the terrain often is.
Mhm.
Because
Yes, because
sometimes,
that's been a problem.
yeah, if you're like in a tight corridor space, obviously you might want to prefer melee or something like that. But if you're out in the middle of the open field and there's a guy running from you, yeah, maybe a bow and arrow might be a better choice.
Also, first game lets you ride a horse.
Yeah, that horse is
Yes.
amazing. It has a nice, good double jump. It handles quite well. I know Soul has some problems with it, but Soul always has problems with things.
Like a compass.
But there is one
Compass,
weakness with the horse.
compass.
There is a weakness with the horse, however, and
Yes.
one I understand why it's not addressed. It's annoying at best.
Which one's
Mhm.
that?
So if you drop from a really high height that is instant death, even if you wait to do that secondary jump, it will still just kill you.
Ah.
There is some wiggle room with that, but there is eventually you've fallen X number of meters, nothing can stop that.
Yeah.
But if you prevent yourself from falling X number of meters, You can get away with shit that really should be unsurvivable with the double jump, but it's not 100% perfect.
Yeah, though
Yes.
I felt the distance was really awkward with this because I'm not used to being able to jump in a Soulsborne game, so that really kind of threw me off a little bit.
Well, see that's where a lot of people seem to forget. You could always jump in the Soul series.
Well, not as
Jumping was
easily.
always
It
a
was
thing.
never like a straight up jump.
Yes, it was Sekiro when they finally introduced just straight jumping. But in the other games, you had to run and then jump.
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
And it was awkward because
And
it was like either R3 that like run and jump, or
Oh,
yeah, it was
like
like
it
you
was an
had
awkward thing to do.
yeah, you had to hold if you're playing on PlayStation, hold the circle button to initiate the run, and then click R3 to
oh,
jump, or you had to
oh,
hold the circle button and then quickly tap it again to jump. So it
oh,
wasn't just like a free, easily
oh.
thing you could do. And
I,
then
I,
Demon Souls didn't have it at all.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but having jump on push in R3 or L3 is just to me. Ugh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
no,
it's bad. It's
it's
bad.
bad. Ugh, no, no. That is
And
one of my complaints with the Souls franchise I've played so far is I do have a hard time with some of the control layouts. At least you can alter them, but they're still not like great button combinations. But I get why. It's sometimes you just don't have enough keys on a controller.
What do you say we delve into characters before we have this go on for like hours on end?
I can get behind that.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Hello, Millennia. We're not Melina. I get tongue tied with these people.
Yeah, these names are not going to be convenient for you, are they, Saul?
No, they're not.
The first woman you were introduced to in the game,
Because your ass is maidenless.
bitchless.
So, what there's actually interesting thing about this is that lore-wise, you were called a tarnished, which is basically a warrior come back from the dead, pretty much. And all tarnished are have a maiden with them from some guild, I believe it was. I forget the exact thing she told us.
Mm.
But every tarnished that risen was supposed to have one, so that they can use the runes to gain strength. We did not. Ours was killed before we awoke, and so we are a tarnished without a maiden. Melina approaches us and offers to fill the role of maiden as long as we take her on the journey to the Elden Tree. And so you get the sense that she will help you. She even gives you a horse, which was
The horse
awesome.
is amazing.
His name is Turret, by the way.
Yes.
But she has her own agenda about this.
And I do like that immediate mystery the game gave me. Like, I don't fully trust you, but I have no choice but to.
Because it's either trust her or stay at level 1. And
I'm not ready for that Donkey Kong Bongo run yet.
me neither.
Me 3.
Well, you're probably the closest of us, Em, or not Em, Ice.
Yes, so there's more than one person with you right now.
I can't tell people. He might still stab us in the back.
Well, getting his name right's not gonna get his name wrong won't help.
Yeah, I'm still sharpening my Wolf's Assault sword here.
I'll get my Dragon Slayer.
All right, you knockoff guts reject.
I'll pound you into the dirt.
Gotta catch me first.
Yeah.
And bless them.
No.
Damn it. But she does, honestly, like Em said, the mystery is what really draws you in with her. And like you said, you've got no choice in this matter.
Yeah. So we won't say much more about her. Only, this is the first example you get of the voice acting in this game, and they did a fantastic job of casting almost everyone in this game.
The animation is not Final
I said
Fantasy
almost everybody.
15-ish levels.
No.
Only
no.
because of the way the game is.
Yes.
But you do get the feelings they're trying to portray in this open world.
They're well directed too.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a few voices out there where I'm like, what?
I am just actually happy they finally made their mouths move. Because believe it or not, from Demon Souls up to Dark Souls 3, because that came out after Bloodborne, their mouths never moved.
Oh
Did they
yeah.
Words were
did they
words were
melt
coming out, but no movement of the mouth.
To
did
be
they
fair, that's
Metal
why
Gear
a
Solid
lot of them wore helmets.
did they Metal Gear Solid bobble head like crazy when talking?
No,
Ugh.
it would just be, say, like her idle animation just standing there, like that.
Hmm.
She would just be standing there, and there would be no movement of her mouth, but she's talking to you.
Yeah.
God, everyone's psychic.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody was psychic, and it wasn't until they came out with the game Sekiro that characters' mouths actually started moving. So it took them a while to
They
get
were
to that point.
they were perfecting dodge rolling technology before that.
It- yes, but I mean, it's one of the things. It's a minute gripe of mine,
Yes.
but it did not take away from the experience of the game.
No, it's something you more notice when you're really looking around, kind of thing. I
Mhm.
imagine.
Yes.
Once the
Yeah.
wonder of looking around and not dying kind of wore off.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the next character.
So, just so we are clear, not everything on this world is safe to talk to.
Ah, yes, my homie, my blood brother, the guy I just want to kill every time I see him, the Tree Sentinel Knight with their one damn theme.
So, that little church in the top left, right there, that's pretty much your first real safe house you get to. This guy's right in front of it.
Yep. As soon as you get done the intro area, you get to fight this
Boss,
guy.
boss on a highly mobile horse with range capabilities, a big shield that can block a lot of crap, and that giant axe that, by the way, that he's bigger than your character.
By
So
Yes.
that
he's at least 3 times your size.
so that giant axe he's wielding around is also bigger than you, and he wants to put that straightly into your rectum.
Fun fact, you don't have your horse at this point either.
No.
You don't, and I remember spending an hour and a half fighting him
This
with
guy
that
will
theme ingrained into my brain, trying to beat him.
this guy will quickly teach you how to stealthily walk around your problems.
To be fair, I gave it a couple of tries, realized that I'm not making any progress, and ran.
I learned a secret about him.
Hmm.
It's easier to deal with his shield side than his axe side.
I wonder why.
And
Uh,
no, it's not easy to deal with his backside.
no, because the horse can just kick you, or
Yeah.
he'll
Yeah.
jump. He'll have the horse go on the hind legs, turn around, and slam on you.
Yeah, that's usually
You know
what
what?
killed
You
me.
know what? I learned a really good trick for him.
Don't
Send your
engage him.
meat shield. Send your meat shield to get hit instead of you.
That always works too.
There is one other thing I should mention. If, as far as I can recall, and Ice, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the first Souls game that incorporates stealth? Like, literally
Um,
just get down and get out of sight? Like, I know there's backstabs
if
in all of them. But
if we're talking without, if we are taking out Sekiro, then yes.
I mean,
If
like,
we're
of the
at,
Souls era. Sekiro I kind of consider like an offshoot, in a sense.
I consider that more of a story-driven game
Yeah.
with Souls-like aspects to it.
Yeah.
Mm.
But far as Souls games, yes, this is the very first one that you can actually crouch and freely jump.
Because I know in all the Soulsborne games you can backstab and crit stab.
Yes, you
this
can
one
backstab, crit stab, back jump,
but this is the first one where
roll.
you could like get down low and sneak around for better stealth to get that backstab easier.
Yes, and it was a breath of fresh air into the game because for all you LARPers out there, it added a new way for people to play rogue base characters.
It
Hmm.
also they really do reward you in certain dungeons where they will give you a path to take, which gives you a high ground advantage over some enemies. They realize that some people would want to do this, or you can just run like a goddamn madman and charge head first. They let you do both options, and a lot of games have a hard time doing both. Not every dungeon has a great stealth path,
Hmm.
but a lot of them do have a lot of great stealth paths. And a mechanic the Dark Souls, well, the Souls franchise is allowing you, because these games are always online in the best sense, as in you can summon friends or random players to assist you. They are leveled down to closer your range to make things fair, because I can't summon ice at his max level on my half finished game character. He'd be
Yes,
more
that would be unfair. I would
that
destroy
yeah.
everything.
But because the way the game feels, you barely notice you've lost powers. You still have all your abilities. Like if you're like level 50 mage and you need level 50 level mage intelligence stats, you still keep that spell. It's just if the spell was leveled down with you.
Yeah, instead of doing, say, 1,000 points of damage in that initial hit, you might do 200 points of damage. The helper is the only one that's really going to notice that they've been severely weakened.
Yes, but they won't like notice, hey, I can't do this spell I've come to really rely on, or I can't equip this weapon I've gotten really used to using.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not having a Final Fantasy 14 moment. You have
Yeah,
not learned this spell yet. Wait, what?
and I have noticed this. Almost all weapons have a distinct feel to them. Even weapons in the same family have a distinct feel to them.
Mm-hmm. And I'd
Yes,
like to get to
that's
that, talk
always been
about
a
that
thing.
when we get closer to what we talked about the game overall.
Yes,
Yes,
Because
I'm
there's
actually somewhat of an expert in that area.
I noticed that. As a side note, I play a mage, but my main weapon's whips for when I'm not using magic. Because
Um,
I like
y-
something to keep things away from me, and the whip gives me a good mid range if I don't have enough time to cast a spell.
well, then I would tell you, I don't remember which point in the game you get it. I think it might be the Volcano Manor.
Mm.
Um, you want to get the Magma Whip, an
Ooh,
amazing whip.
Oh, is that
I
dropped from that lizard guy? Yeah,
Yes,
we
I
gotta go
bet that
farm
was your
that
guy.
sometime.
Yeah.
it's a very good weapon. In
I have
fact,
I have a
after
whip that turns into a sword if I hold the button long enough.
oh,
And
I know which one you're talking about. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
that one's really good for stabbing people away from me. And that's
Yes,
the thing. Bosses like this will really quickly teach you how you want to play your character, and you can experiment with weapons to find what feels good for you. And when you're assisting someone, you don't lose that. You don't have to relearn like, oh hey, this is a level 20 dexterity whip. You can't be level 20 dexterity at this point. So here, use this worse whip that feels different. Like if they did that when they synced you down, fuck no.
Yeah.
it would actually destroy the PvP scene.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll talk about that in a bit, but I'm
Yeah.
not too fond of the PvP scene, but I understand why people are.
But yeah, the tree sentinel is kind of your real first major hurdle, and
Yeah, he's not
teaches you
even
where you stand in this world.
he's not even a story significant boss.
He's actually not a story boss at all. He is
Hmm.
optional.
Yep. There's
Every tree sentinel you come across is optional.
Yeah,
yeah.
there is like 90 something bosses if I remember right from my last count.
Yes, this
Yes.
game has the most bosses in any Soulsborne game
But I
to
want to say
date.
like 70 are just the same boss in a different location.
Yeah, that is one of
Yes,
the weak points of it is that some of them are just repeats.
But at the same time, it let them like fill the game with challenges, and
Hmm.
even though a boss may look the same, hey, now you're fighting them on stairs. Crap.
Yeah, not to mention that there is some story reasons for that as well.
Yes.
So,
yes. I'll go ahead and give a quick rundown before we move on.
Sure.
This is not really a spoiler because we're gonna be talking about them, but we're only going over this tree sentinel boss. But there's 5 in the game you fight. It's this one. Later on, there's 2 of them you fight at once.
No, fuck that fight.
The best thing to do is actually just pull them one at a time. Use your bow, pluck one, pull him away from the other, fight
Um,
him. When he's dead, then go fight the other.
I didn't have a
The
bow at the time, but the spell I had went through both.
ooh,
yeah.
Yeah.
but then you have the God of Gods tree sentinel, and that's the ancient dragon tree sentinel.
Oh God.
I'm not gonna lie, am I lie?
You're not, because once he gets down to a certain percentage of health, he juices himself up with dragon power. And he is nasty piece of work.
I just remembered him.
Yep. And then there is another one like this one, but he's not a boss. He's actually a normal enemy. And it's before you fight another boss.
Hmm.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah, I watched Soul fight that guy. He was also on stairs, and Soul did not like fighting him there.
Yes.
But yeah, uh, there are a bunch of repeat bosses that aren't just knights on horses. Some of them are just like generic looking monsters out and about, and sometimes they're just
Or
other.
there's just Sonic spitting goats.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not making that up.
that always
Yep.
weirded me out. Anyway, let's
Gotta
continue
go
on.
fast.
This little guy
Once you zoom in a bit, there you go.
is one of our companions. His
He's a good guy.
name is Bach, I think it's pronounced B-O-C.
Yeah, I
I
think Box.
think. I think that's his
Box.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a seamstress or a tailor.
He is a beast man of some good intelligence, and generally a nice guy, really. He
Yeah,
just
he's one
has
of
some really shit luck.
he's one of
Yeah.
many people you meet along the way. There are a lot of nice people in this game.
Without
That
spoiling
event,
his location, you first meet him when he was turned into a tree.
Yeah. And he's only yelling out, and you see you're surrounded by trees. Good luck with that.
yeah, and you want to find him.
This brings up one of the moments that we'd mentioned that this game is online. If you
Mhm.
look slightly behind where Bach is kneeling, I think he's kneeling, you'll see
Yeah,
some what looks like white scribbles behind him or like white glowing spots.
that's messages left by other players. These are preset messages you basically piece together, like wonderful view,
Just ahead.
Amazing chest ahead.
liar ahead,
Try
Jump.
plunging ahead.
jump ahead. You
Beware
basically take
ambush.
beware weak guy.
Mhm.
However, this can also double the troll you, where
Yeah,
they might place treasure ahead and it's a cliff, or try jumping. It's your
it's
death.
or they might say, yeah, treasure ahead. You hit that path, and you get ambushed by a boss.
Mhm.
Yep.
Now you can
Or
vote up these messages so that so the messages that are voted up last longer.
It also gives the person that left the message a small boost in whatever the currency is for that game.
yes,
Mhm.
they get a runic boost.
Yeah. So if you want to be a troll, you won't get any rewards. If you want to be nice and warn people about things, you get rewards. You also get to have special later on red runes that basically show you how somebody died.
Yes,
Yeah,
this
those
has
are fun
been
to
a
watch.
thing that has been a thing since Demon Souls.
You see a
Or
red ghost of the player. You don't see what they're fighting. You just see them moving about like they're a Mario Kart ghost from the racetracks. And then you just see them fall over dead. So if you just see a guy fall over dead from damage, because you will quickly learn what your being hit animations are. In the middle of a field, you realize, oh, there might be something further in this
I always
field.
find it funny to find the ones that just die, that no hit indication, they're just dead. And you're like, what the hell happened here? And why am I still here?
My favorite are the ones that just jump to the death. They're just standing next to a fence, and then they jump over the fence and just fall. And you're
yes.
like, well, sometimes you got to end it.
Well, that was like for the longest time I was confused with Bloodborne, how people were dying in the Hunter's Dream. I was like, there's nothing here that can attack you. How are you dying? And then I remembered you can poison yourself, or in Bloodborne, use the katana that uses your life for its blood, and you can just let that run out and kill you.
Some
Yeah.
people are not smart. Also, it will warn you sometimes that this safe zone eventually becomes not a safe zone.
Mm-hmm.
Later on in the story, something comes here.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Or it makes you feel very tense. But Bach here, he will, when you do his story, he'll be able to alter your armor so they look slightly differently. I mean, you
It
can do that too,
it
but he
also
does,
lowers their stats, but also lowers the weight a bit.
mhm, or
So,
increases their stats and increases their weight.
mm-hmm.
Because once you alter a piece of gear, it doesn't have to stay that way forever.
Mm-hmm. This can be handy if you're low level and you just need that 1 pound just to be able to get underneath the weight limit for whatever weight
Yeah,
class you're going for.
if the armor's too heavy, your dodge roll is increasingly slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there's three classes of weight: light, medium, and heavy. Hence the term fat rolling.
Yeah.
If you have no armor
I
or
should have.
extremely light armor, you will do the fastest roll possible. If you are wearing medium armor or you're medium weight, because everything accounts, you will do a medium roll. It's not as fast, but it's not as slow either. Still, you're in the mwah range that you can still function a okay. Then you get to the fat rolling, and that is when you are heavy.
At this point, just put up your
And
shield and don't bother rolling.
believe it or not, that is what you're is expected at that point. You have a tower shield, and you're just a unpenetrable fortress
Despite one of the heaviest armors looking like you should just be able to roll continuously.
and never stop.
Yeah.
They never explain how that armor is useful, but you know what?
Well, you
It's the
just gotta
way
get
they
to
make it.
a top of the stairs and have someone kick you down them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that armor. Sorry, I just thought that was just how Soul Nolan looked.
Fine, next time you beat me shield.
But as a skeleton,
But so and he's also, like I said, he is, after you help him and you do a little side quest for him to get his mother's needle, he genuinely just believes in you. He wants you to be the Elden Lord, which is your entire
Yeah.
quest for this game.
yeah, you're trying to become El Lord, which is basically God King.
Yes, that is to basically put the lands back where it needs to be.
Yeah, because you're in the
This
land
is
between the mist.
yes,
Yeah,
this is kind of the same as the previous games.
the dead shouldn't be
Dark,
rising, but they
the
are.
Dark Souls 1, your whole thing is to keep the fire going.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Souls 2, keep the fire going. Dark Souls 3, become the the fire itself to keep the fire going. But in doing so, it repeats the cycle.
Mm-hmm. It's not a very good cycle.
No, I thought it was all sunshine and rainbows. That's why you called it Dark Souls, right?
Entirely.
So,
Yeah.
so for those who may have never touched this game, this one is a open world game, but the Dark Souls series, as well as Bloodborne, are dungeon crawlers, believe it or not. They're not labeled as such, but you're always going through dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it's dark fantasy dungeon crawler. Now, what's lovely about these games is these are not your typical dungeon crawlers where you get better armor, better weapons, and better spells as you go along. No, 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 no. These games,
Make you work for it.
you work for it, but if you get, say, the soldier's straight sword, if you work with that weapon, getting the pieces needed to increase its power, maybe turn it into a flaming soldier straight sword or an ice soldier straight sword or plague soldier straight sword, whatever you want, that is going to be your weapon.
Yep.
And your weapon goes up to 25. So
Mhm.
plus 25.
So even if you see someone running around with the most basic looking gear, they could still be as deadly as someone who found legendary gear from a boss much later in the game. There are advantages to some of the legendary weapons, but they don't automatically make them the best.
No,
You make them the
Mhm.
best. Like I
there's too
said,
many of them that are actually bad.
Which is,
yes.
like I said, you build your character in this. It's pretty much open world on what you want to do with your character.
Uh, Soul is very fond of the great sword in this game. In fact, to the point where he had me find the one in my game and give it to him so he could dual wield them. And I was totally fine with that because I had no interest in using a great sword. So Soul did the reverse for me. He found me a really good staff for my mage to cast magic with. The evil red crystal staff. I really like it.
Yes.
I don't even know if it's the best stats wise, but it's the one that feels the most comfortable for me. And I
Oh,
know
the adventures we've had.
you can make your character and you never have to change how they look or their weapons. You can just get yourself in a comfortable groove and you're not punished for it.
Yeah, the game's got other things to push you for.
Yes, it'll punish you lots of other way. It'll take you over and spank you on the ass for a good hour-long stay, but it will never mock you for your weapon choice. Which is good, because I played so many RPGs where I'm like, okay, I really like this weapon. Now upgrade to this one. But it looks ugly.
Doesn't
What?
matter. Use it.
But it handles like crap.
But
Its stats are 2 points higher.
Yes.
there is
That
one other
was.
element in Elden Ring I do wish to discuss real quick.
Go for it.
The Ashes of War.
Yes,
yes.
that was brand new.
Mm-hmm. Now, what Ashes of War are, they're pretty much special, unique abilities you can put onto your weapon or your shields. And they would let you, say, do a special attack, gain extra attack power, defense power, what have you, depending on what you equipped. Now,
Hmm.
boss weapons come with a set Ash of War. You cannot change these out. Most
Nor
standard,
can you take them off and put them on
yeah,
another.
most standard weapons, you can swap those out as much as you want without any cost whatsoever. So that is almost free range. Um,
Yeah, free customization. I like that about the boss weapons is the ash can be what makes the weapon important, not its stats.
mm-hmm.
So there's still a point to collecting boss weapons, but you don't feel the need that you have to use boss weapons.
The only downside with boss weapons, though, is they are very limited in scope.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to be able to, like, for me, for example, I'm dual wielding katanas as well as can single a katana. Most boss weapons serve me no purpose. I can't even use them.
Mm-hmm.
Besides a handful.
Yeah, likewise. I'm a mage. Most of the boss weapons are big, clunky things. I'm like, I don't have the strength for this crap.
Exactly. That's like a mage. Hey, mage, I want you to lift Guts' great sword, his dragon sword.
Um,
What? Not
yeah,
gonna
I can't even
happen.
dual wield mine.
yes, I was dual wielding that sword. That's how much
Yeah.
strength he put in his character. I'm like, no thanks. I'll just use this nice light whip. I already have the intelligence and dexterity for it.
Plus that I can stagger most enemies like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, trust me, it's fun watching Soul stagger them and then when they're about to hit Soul, them being hit by a Kamehameha to the face. Because while you summon your friends, there's no friendly fire, so I can shoot magic through Soul. So I'm just
Yes.
picturing
It tingles.
these poor zombies or demons, whatnot, watching Soul just erupt an explosion of magic. He's just standing there like, this tickles while they're melted.
Yes, and it's a good thing they have that and I will get into it with the PvP side of things
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because that would be a problem if you're in PvP and there's a lovely spell. I was watching a streamer use it. He cast a spell and it arcs, and when it hits the person, it erupts into a massive explosion.
Oh, M has that one too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do. I like that one.
and that would be really bad if there was friendly fire tied to that because you'd end up killing
Oh, I'd
Soul
be
with it.
dead 10
Yeah,
times over.
because could
Yeah,
you imagine in a tight corridor space where it's just barely enough room for you and your friend to stand in front of each other, let alone go past each other, and then
yeah,
someone tries to jump you? I'd have no choice but to nuke Soul. Or even with those massive swords, he would hit me from behind while I'm standing behind him.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it would end up killing you
Yeah.
because as one of the things with this game is it is easy to die.
Very easy.
Yes. Very.
And
They don't need ways.
well, I'm saying this because death is a turnoff to a lot of people in this game. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't like playing it because of how easy it is to die.
Hmm.
But
There also
what
is a
you
slight punishment to dying, which is a big annoyance, but not super annoying. When you die, you lose all your experience. You can recollect it, but if you die before recollecting it, it's gone for good.
Now, you don't lose any levels. You just lose
No.
the experience you
yes,
gathered from that point.
yes.
If it
So in this
if you
game, it's runes.
Mm-hmm.
yes, if you lost your experience and then started losing levels, yeah, no, I wouldn't be playing this game.
Only the die hardest of diehards would be playing this game at that point. Because
Hmm.
then this whole game, imagine if it was Iron Man mode. It just wouldn't work. You'd be dead. You'd be dead. So imagine you come out, the tree sentinel's there, and you're like, oh god, I gotta get past him. And you're going to the church, and whack, dead.
I
You're like,
don't have enough
oh,
Estus for this.
Iron Man mode just ended right there on the
Hmm.
first guy.
Hmm.
Or all the pitfalls and everything. There's times you will be comboed. You will be hit by one enemy, and it leads to you falling off a cliff.
I've fallen off a cliff
Or
just trying to explore.
what's worse in my opinion, being comboed and being knocked into a other monster that wasn't aggroed, but because you bumped into them, hey, look, now you're being comboed from behind.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of juggling. And one of my problems, I'm just going to bring up because we talked about the co-op. We haven't talked about the PvP. It's forced PvP in places. As in,
Mm-hmm.
if I summon Soul to help me, that sets up signal flare for people who are in PvP mode to just automatically join my game to attack us
So
anywhere.
So I will explain that because when we were talking earlier before you started, there's one thing Soul didn't mention. So this game has 4 slots, and 2 slots can be for player and cooperative player, and the other 2 slots, one is guaranteed invader, and the other one can also be invader. So you can get multiple invasions, not just one.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm going to use Dark Souls 2, for example. No, Dark Souls 1, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a spot in Dark Souls 1 where you go into a forest, and it's a protected forest, and you talk to a cat, and you can join that covenant. Well, if a person is by themselves and they're running through that forest, it initiates the PvP for the invaders to protect that forest.
Oh.
If this person doesn't have a friend with them, well, guess what those last 3 slots fill up with? 3 invaders.
Ugh.
Hey, Ice. You
Yes.
remember the tower in Dark Souls 2?
Yep. The
Ugh.
same thing. The bell tower.
I hated the bell tower.
Because that did the same exact thing, and then the wolf in Dark Souls 3 did the exact same thing
Because
there.
by some miracle you get past the tower, you're right immediately into a boss fight with 2 golems.
Yep.
And this is where my biggest problem with the game comes in is I have no problem PvPing when I want to. And the very concept that while Soul is giving me a tour around the place, helping me out, we can get jumped by one invader, then another invader, then another invader before we can even get to the next rest point. Now, there is somewhat of a cooldown, but it doesn't feel like there's much. You know what it reminds me of?
Mm-hmm.
NES era JRPGs where you take one step and there's another random encounter.
I was going to say Legend of Dragoon, because that was notorious for that.
Yeah, it
I have
was.
forgot about that. I was
Take
just
a
thinking
step,
about.
fight. Take
I
another
was
step,
just
Now,
fight.
I was just thinking of the original Dragon Quest where that actually happened too. You take a fight,
Yep.
step, another fight. No,
well, I won't say it defends how often this can happen. Do not think that this game tries to say that this does not happen. This is a selling point for this game.
yes, it is.
Yes, the PvP is the selling point.
So it does not lie to you about this, whatever anybody may say. This is
Mhm.
well known by anybody that actually has looked up anything about this game.
But it's still, to me, it feels like we advertised it. We just didn't advertise how much.
They may have
Basically,
undersold it, but they did not lie to you about it.
yeah. I expected it like, oh, hey, every 30 minutes or so. That's not so bad.
Nope. If
We've
you
had
win,
times
it's
where
a
it's just
constant.
one after the other.
Yes, if you the more you win, the longer it's going to keep running. It's a more of a constant. If you now, I don't remember if it does in Elden Ring. I don't think it does, but in Dark Souls 3, if you were invaded and you died, you had a 5 or 10 minute cooldown. You couldn't be invaded again within that time period. So if you died, you could turn around and say summon Soul or myself without the worry of being invaded for a period.
I don't know if this is true, but at least when I was playing, it felt like if there was such a cooldown, summoning Soul would reset the cooldown.
Now,
If you died, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if Elden Ring has it, and because this is a larger game,
Yes.
it may be that there's a 5 minute cooldown timer, but because it's so big, you just roaming around ate up the 5 minutes and you didn't even realize it. So it's like all of a sudden,
That
boop,
is
you're being invaded by Ai Yamamoto.
that is completely fair. But now we explain a lot of the game mechanics. We should get back to the characters.
indeed,
Yes, we should.
this one has actually been in a couple of games, as Ice has told me. Patches the
My
dick.
man, Patches.
You have strange friends, Ice.
Well, Patches and I go way back. We go way back to Armored Core because that's when you first meet Patches. Is Armored Core,
Yeah, for
which
those
is
who
what
don't,
started software.
if you don't know what Iron Core, Armored Core is, it's
A mech simulator.
yeah, and we mean simulator, as in you're simulating all the controls, the doodads, not just like, hey, here's a robot you're piloting. No, you're simulating piloting that robot.
Yes, and what's actually funny about that is you can see where the correlation from the Soulsborne and Armored Core kind of fit. They are 2 separate games. Please don't misunderstand.
Yeah.
But you have a weight limit, And the only difference, however, is in Armored Core, whenever you went out on a sortie, you had to pay for everything. You had to
Oh
pay for
yeah,
damages, you had to pay for your bullets, you had to pay for any damages you caused.
your fuel.
Yes, all this played into a factor. Well, Patches, if I remember correctly, was either a enemy AC pilot or he was actually a person that was running with another company.
Or both.
Oh yeah, it could be both, but I don't remember if he was actually a pilot or just a dispatcher.
Mm.
Mm.
But he was in there as well as the esteemed Moonlight Greatsword, and there was one other weapon also. So Patches, the Moonlight Greatsword, and one other weapon have a long history from software.
Yeah, Patches is a
A
rat.
thief, a dashing, ball-headed thief.
And I was so happy to kill him.
You killed him?
Yep.
He's a merchant.
He
I didn't.
kicked me to a pit of monsters,
He's a merchant.
which
I
I
did
can which I can
because
buy
Soul
stuff from another
Extract-
shop.
Yes, but there are certain items you can only get from him.
Well, I didn't know that at the time. I was just getting my original patches.
Oh my god, what is wrong with you? You don't kill Patches.
Yes, you do. You can kill him quite
No, you
easily.
don't. You don't kill
Well,
Patches.
my
Yes,
sword is 3 times his body size. I can kill him quite easily.
yes, I get it. You know, he angers you. He angers a lot of people. You just don't kill the man.
Well, I didn't know that at the time. I didn't kill my
See?
other character.
See, you already screwed up a storyline.
Thank you for being here, Ice.
Oh my god. Although I do want to do a run where I kill everybody. Because believe it or not, the main girl you showed, she's the only character technically you cannot kill because she always disappears right after you talk to her.
She's
Smart.
a ghost.
Everyone else can be murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not easily.
Not easy. Well, believe it or not, the few people that we're going to be showing, I'll tell you how easily they can be killed when we get to them.
Sure.
But
But yeah, Patches is just kind of a little side story that I do like as a running gag. I like when companies have running gags or running characters. I kind of miss when Mario for Nintendo was Mr. Video Game, when he would just show up as like the referee in a game. They should do that more often, I think.
yeah, they should.
Yes,
Also,
they
Nintendo
really
needs,
should.
Nintendo needs to release Super Smash Kart already.
Yeah, that's kind of Patches. Patches took the place of Mario, where he just shows up in everything they do.
Yeah, and he's designed to fit the world he's in. He's obviously
Yes.
not the Armored Core pilot he was in Armored Core.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Yes.
because if he had an Armored Core, he would have ran you over with it.
Well, I'm just saying he could be the same person. He just might have fell into a dimensional portal.
He's not
You know what-
Gilgamesh.
You know what's funny though? Is he always has the Slav.
Mm.
He has the Slav squat. Always.
Mm.
That has been Patch's signature squat.
Good for
It's
your
never
poops.
changed.
Sorry, that's a joke from another comedy sketch I watch. What are you guys doing? Squatting. Why? It's good for your poops. Guy runs out, starts a car, and they all go, hey, wait, can Graham even drive?
But
Oh,
let's
God.
move on to our first, what I consider the first official boss.
Yeah, this is the first really story-relevant boss that you'll probably bump into. He doesn't have to be yours. You don't have to go
Now,
towards
you can
him.
actually completely circumvent this guy.
Yeah, you can actually skip him altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Feels really weird, but it's possible. A lot of people don't do it because he's kind of a good measure for where you are in the game.
Yes, I will say that. He's a good starter boss in terms of let's get you used to things. I imagine for your second run, yeah, you can skip if you want.
Yeah.
Or you can just completely bum rush him and murder him and keep on moving like he wasn't there.
His brother's a bit bigger of a dick, though.
I'm actually glad they fixed the issue that they used to have in Dark Souls 2.
Which one is that?
Because he has a lot of movement, a lot of aerial movements. And Dark Souls 2, there was a few bosses, and as well as Sekiro, and I want to say Dark Souls 3, there were certain bosses that had movement And if you angled yourself just right, you
Oh,
could get them to fall off the world and die.
like the Minotaur.
Yep. The special boss in Sekiro, if you start the fight off, go immediately to the left and wait for the boss to do a swing towards you, run away, and the boss is stuck there.
I
And then you can cheese to get up on the rooftops where you're not supposed to get to, and it will try to swing at you and fall off the cliff and die.
I
Eh.
appreciate that. At the same time, I don't.
Yeah, I'm glad they fixed it, but
Yeah, they fixed it for this Sekiro. That still works on that boss today.
Cool.
Because I remember in Dark Souls 2 with the first Minotaur boss, he was
Mhm.
ready to pound me senseless, and all of a sudden, whoop, right off the castle wall. Like, what the fuck
Yeah.
just happened?
Did he have
Yeah.
the goofy scream to his death?
It played in my head when I realized what happened.
But yes, sometimes I like to try it just to see if I can do it because I've already beaten them one way, so it's like it doesn't matter at this point.
Now,
Yeah.
So
more,
going back through it is like, ooh, I wonder if I can trigger this to actually work for me.
Mhm.
The technically the second boss in Dark Souls 2, you can shoot him with a bow and arrow before you even get to the boss gate.
Huh.
And you can kill him before you even get to him.
Nice.
there's also a bug with some bosses in Elden Ring where you can shoot over the wall or get around the door and get into the fight the boss without them activating.
Yep, and they just stand there and you can just kill them without them ever giving you any resistance. But I mean, these are things. There are people that go out of their way to discover this, and then
Yes.
they post them all on YouTube and so on and so forth. And then you have
There's
next thing you
also
know,
the
you have
greatest
everybody
video.
doing it.
There's also the single greatest video ever for the Souls franchise. The guy with the cone hat going down the ladder.
That was Bloodborne.
Oh yes, from Bloodborne.
Bloodborne.
I actually have that hat, so I did it.
I mean, why
I'm glad
wouldn't
though
you?
that still works.
Oh, it still works because the collision is so funny in that game.
They're never going to get rid of that.
Now,
Oh no, they keep dumb stuff like that, which makes them appreciate it more.
Yeah, they're not afraid to take the piss out of themselves. I've noticed that.
now, as we were going on about Morgott, he is what's known as an omen in the world of In Between the Mist. What entirely that entails is a little still up in the story of mystery.
The story of mystery. Got it.
Because we know a few things about him and his ties to other characters through the backstory that we have to try and discover. There's like 80 backlogs over there somewhere.
Hey, I got the tome over here, but I kind of dropped it into the ocean.
Ah, it's going to be fun.
Eh,
Yeah, good luck fishing that out.
no thanks. There are giant crabs in that ocean.
But in some insane way, all these characters are somehow interlinked. And it's amazing when you find all the threads.
And you don't even need a corkboard to do that.
They actually did a real good job with that in this versus their other games. Because the other games, okay, like Dark Souls 1 is like, oh, there's demons in the realm, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But none of these demons are tied to each other.
I think maybe like one or two were, but
Yeah, besides ones that the game emphasized, none of them were tied to each other. Like, for example, even though they're like Ornstein and Smo, again, they were just protectors and they killed dragons. But they have no connection to the overarching problem in the world. You just know, oh, they served the king. That's it.
Eep.
but here most of the major stuff is connected some way. Even some of the minor stuff is connected in some way. And despite you knowing nothing about them, you see how even the little minions fit into the story. Because in this world, nothing can permanently stay dead. And that just comes across as a huge issue.
What?
Because it is a huge issue.
Wouldn't eternal life be amazing?
Because I get the feeling that, well, nothing can die. It doesn't feel like anything's being born either.
No, nothing new seems to be created in this world. Well, except for new ways to kill you.
Oh yeah, that's our favorite pastime. But
Next we have
well, one last minute. Like I said, he is your pretty much your first real tester for where you are when fighting bosses. Pretty much anything past him is just going to be harder.
yeah. For me, it was my first time I fought him. He kicked my ass. I did few levels a few times. Came back. It was a better fight.
Not to mention, he's really good. He has some easy tells for you to
Yeah,
figure out what you're doing.
he's not quite telegraphing you what he is, but he's still kind of on the lines of he has some swings before he hits you.
So if you want
It's
someone
kind
to,
of the. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so if you want a boss that you can really work on your rolls with, this is the guy. This is the one you want to start with. Because
Um,
good.
that's all actually a thing with all bosses in all Soulsborne games is they all telegraph
Yeah, he has
us.
more wind up to his swings though than some later bosses.
That's actually an issue with most of Elden Ring.
Mm.
The majority of bosses in Elden Ring always seem to have a wind up before the attack actually comes out.
I think that might be their way of allowing you to do things more out of order because it's more open world.
It could be. You can tell when they really start bringing in the reins, though, with a certain boss that we will go over later, who gives you very little time to react.
But moving on, we have the best companion,
Pope Turtle.
Pope Turtle.
The Grand Pope Turtle, long may he reign.
I'd follow that religion.
I mean, all he needs is to give a sermon about the goodness of pizza, and that's Soul's entire religion.
Yep.
Usually in the Souls games, I'm glad they broke the mold in Elden Ring. Because the typical thing in the Souls games is whenever you meet people and they help you, eventually in the story, location, you have to kill that person.
Or
Yep.
they just wind up dying one way or the other.
Yes. So this game was another breath of fresh air where a lot of people did try to kill you in this game that you met along the way. But there was also a lot of them that did not. And I liked that.
I mean, some of them just didn't want anything really to do with you, but they weren't trying to murder you. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you look at the NPC that always is there in the beginning, that's kind of giving you the if you played Dark Souls and even Demon Souls, the Crestfallen Knight. He's always telling you why he's there and why you're there and what you should do. Later in the game, the Crestfallen Knight always tries to kill you.
Surprise! I was secretly evil all along.
Exactly. But this game, the people you meet in the beginning don't try to kill you at any point in the game. And I'm like, yo, that's a breath of fresh air.
Yep.
Plus,
You
he's a
still-
turtle.
Hey man, do you see the spells you learned from him?
Yeah. So I learned some of my best spells from that turtle.
Exactly. Imagine if he decided to become a bad guy,
Now-
and then next thing you know, you got Pope Turtle badass on your hands.
And you guarantee they would make him Gamera fly around your ass.
Oh man, yeah, he'd be flying in the air, teleportation.
Shooting
Next
lightning,
thing you know, you
claiming
got
unlimited
two
power.
Kamehamehas coming at you with lightning.
And guarantee you he can fire it from his butt too, so you can't sneak up on him.
Exactly.
He would have kicked our asses.
He's a true final boss.
Exactly. And he looks so defenseless, and it's like, no, don't let that fool you.
I just want to say this. I want to just bring him a watermelon, though. Have you guys ever watched a video of a turtle eating a watermelon? It's adorable.
Yes,
I have. It's actually there's a guy I follow. He has turtles,
Nice.
and that's what he does.
I mean, yeah.
I watched. I watched a channel that has like a turtle reserve, and he just goes
Yeah.
around feeding his tortoises cactus and other turtles.
the one I
and
watch.
stuff.
Oh, that reminds me. I was watching a little documentary of a guy exploring part of, I think it was near the Galapagos Islands, and he accidentally walked in on two tortoises mating, and the male tortoise chased him for almost a kilometer in every direction. at tortoise speed, but he made sure this guy got out of his 1 kilometer radius area so he can go back to baiting it with his wife.
I think he said
And I'm
while he
like,
was doing it with his
Wow.
wife. That would have been impressive.
so here's the thing: tortoises may be slow, they are determined. So if you piss off the Pope, he will slowly, determinedly follow you, even if he doesn't have gamma speed.
I just
Yes.
picture every time you stop, you look over your shoulder, you just see him
Yeah.
slowly approaching. You just get back
Yeah.
up to it and run.
Yeah, he does not tire. He may only go about a meter an hour, but he does not tire. And whatever you do, don't sleep at the bottom of a hill.
But
Uh,
but back on track.
Yes.
This is who you come to hand over ancient tomes to learn various spells as well as miracles.
Yeah. He reads you these stories, and then you can buy magic off him.
magic
That is
usually
a
comes in two ways.
yes, intelligence-based magic and faith-based magic. Basically, for the common person, black magic and white magic.
Pretty much.
Yes. I'm actually kind of confused though as to why they decided to change it because in the other games it was just called miracles.
Mm.
I if I recall right, and don't quote me on this, it was to follow the game lore of the Golden Order and what they were trying to go with the religion and stuff like that. They're trying to incorporate more into the story.
That makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay, so that does make more sense.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to break away from the mold and also incorporate into the story again. Because you got to remember, there's a story about the Golden Order and such and religion with this. So the
Yeah.
incantations falling under more of a religious tone.
So I have a side question.
Shoot,
Do you think Martin wrote in that the Pope was a turtle?
Knowing
whoever
him,
did, I want to give him a
probably.
trophy.
Okay. Works for me.
I'm pretty sure it was George R. R. Martin, and this turtle used to be an actual person, and then this is what they got stuck with.
I mean, even if it wasn't, I can see a turtle living long enough to become a Pope.
I could too, because I mean, I think he was already centuries old in the game.
Yeah. I mean, what's the record for 200 years for a tortoise to be alive?
I think so.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Anyway, next character.
Uh,
The man, the myth, the legend, Radon.
Star Scourge Radon.
Or as Soul kept calling him one day, Raban.
Well, you see, all right. Well, there's already an unfair comparison because Raban lost his jerk arm. Radon still has his.
And one is the size of a mountain, the other is a mountain.
Yeah.
This is a really fun boss fight, especially if you're a long-range mage and he has longer range than you.
If I would like to put it one way, Morgoth was your tester. This is your boss.
Yes.
In any other game, he'd be like the super boss.
And this is the first boss. They completely changed how a boss fight works.
Mm-hmm.
You can summon a whole bunch of NPCs to help fight this guy.
Well, before that, Em, if I might, the first major change for this from any other Souls games is most Souls games gives you a pretty decent area to fight in. This gives you pretty much an entire desert,
Yeah.
and you start at the other end of it. And what's his
And
first
he's
move?
in the center.
To go charging at you? No. He pulls out a goddamn gravity bow and snipes your ass from across the goddamn desert.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of his range. My hit range is probably maybe an eighth of the distance towards him, at best. So I have to run screaming towards him. I don't have much stamina while
And will
running.
testify to this. I just started charging at him because I had no idea what was going on. And
You
mind
know you
I'm-
can pull your horse out, right?
At the time, no, I didn't.
That was the first thing I did.
So
See, because Soldier pulled out his horse, I thought you couldn't. That's why I never did.
well, no, I'm just saying. And then me and Em just watch as this blue light comes straight through my skull and I die.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Radon plays no games.
And mind
No.
you, I'm a tank. I have a ton of HP.
Essentially, he's basically a sentient rail cannon in terms of what he's firing at you in size.
He's a futuristic. He's a prehistoric, futuristic, medieval rail cannon,
Pretty much, yeah.
And as,
all rolled into one.
Yeah.
and as Em was saying, the other thing that's different about this is that you can summon NPCs to help you fight this guy
A
over
whole army
and
of
over
NPCs.
and
Yeah, and
over.
besides patches who just runs, a lot of these NPCs who's been summoned are no small fish.
No.
No,
You
and
could-
in fact, you do quest with them before this point.
Yep.
Yup. My favorite's the jar.
The jar is
Alexander,
amazing.
yeah.
Yes, Alexander is amazing.
But I'm pretty sure you'd also can summon your guy's favorite character, what we'll talk about in a minute.
Oh yeah, mine
And
definitely.
and he is no slouch either.
The other thing is
No.
like this guy has such a funny backstory too because he's running around on this tiny ass horse that has no way possible be able to move this man.
He would crush it if he actually put his full weight on that horse.
So because he loves this horse so much, this man mastered gravity magic so he could remove his weight from his horse so that he could ride it in the battle.
Essentially, he's not really running his horse. The horse is just pulling the parade float that is Radon.
Yeah. He's the balloon and the horse is just pulling it.
So he's a floating balloon man that fires railgun
Which
ammunition
explains
at
why
you.
he can Tokyo drift like there's no tomorrow.
Oh my
Deja
god!
vu.
Yes. Thank you. If you didn't make that joke, I would have.
But here's the other
But-
thing. When you got him down to half health, he vanishes. Only to come back down as a meteor to slam into your ass.
Thus living up to his name.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, he was actually, if I recall right, he's the first Elden Ring boss to get nerfed.
Yes. And then they
Accidentally.
Yeah.
He accidentally got nerfed. I beat him before the nerf.
Same.
I beat him after the nerf was taken off.
So you see you fought him like we did. You fought pre-nerf Rodon.
Yes. I still love how they nerfed him, and then like a week later, like, oh shit, here's your steroids back, sir.
Yeah, because
We-
when they nerfed him, they reduced his damage,
Reduced his HP.
reduced HP, and
Reduced his range.
and he doesn't vanish until like he's only has like a quarter HP left.
See, I'm wondering how they accidentally nerfed him if they did all that.
Well, there's a problem. There's a problem with certain patches. No pun intended. Certain patches, it's a simple misclick, and then bam, you've done something you weren't supposed to. But personally, I feel like he got the accidental nerf because they wanted journalists to hurry up and just get through this guy because he was.
So
If you ever played the game Payday,
oh jeez, yeah.
if you listen to the bulldozer, he was like, "You've come against the wall, and I'm the fucking wall." That's Radon.
So how's that tinfoil hat?
But yes,
Because I kind of think I want one too now. Because
It's a theory. It's a theory.
it's a believable theory because I do remember a lot of reviewers were like complaining they couldn't see enough of this game. Which, to be fair to a lot of video game reviewers, they have to review a lot of games at once, so they don't get to really enjoy games. Which
No, in an open world game like this, how can you? It's impossible.
sucks. But there's also those reviewers who don't know how to jump. See Cuphead's reviews.
We don't talk about that.
Really, you knock the crap out of that.
Oh yes,
But-
I mean, it's just how are you a reviewer?
Yeah, I need to tell you that story later, but it involves a football manager reviewer.
Oh God,
but yeah,
Still knows the story. It cracked him up.
Radon is the first heavyweight boss I find. Like he is the one that does not give you room to breathe.
Nope.
You
And I like
have
that about him.
to know what you're doing.
and don't forget, once you close a certain distance, he pulls out two blades and can do blade beam attacks at you.
Oh, don't forget to draw you in so you can have an easier time
Yeah.
smacking you upside your head.
The
Yeah.
gravity pull.
The gravity pull sucked for me because it interrupted my charging for a spell.
Yeah,
I'll say this one: I was glad when I got those weapons
and my character can't use them.
because it does it two times. It draws you in, then it explodes the gravity out.
Yes,
Ah, gotcha.
that was almost fun.
Hey, I went up with a lot more hours in my ass than you did.
Yes, that's because thankfully you were here to help me, and I still do more damage to you when I finally hit something. The problem is my Kamehameha, I can't aim it. Once I fire it, it just keeps going in one direction, so I have to let go of it and then
Yeah.
recharge, aim it. Which if the boss is fast enough, does not help me.
No, which is why I'm glad I can actually draw their attention and make them stand still for a couple of seconds before they smack me across the arena.
Yes, but after they
Um,
smack you, usually melted them.
one more quick note.
Hmm?
This is also the first boss
It's
that
first-
they made into a tournament.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Every other time, it's just run in, fight boss, destroy boss, move on. This, it was, hey, we're holding the grand tournament, and your opponent is just Scar Scourged Radon.
Which, it should be pointed out, without spoiling too much, this man went through a terrible occurrence and is pretty much rotting out of his mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, you're pretty much putting down a zombie.
a zombie that still has all of its abilities when it was living.
And a horse.
Yeah, and a horse.
Like, if you.
Though, question:
Hmm?
Hmm?
who knows the strongest weapon in the game?
I don't.
Uh. That's kind of changed because of patches, so I'm not sure.
Iron Greatsword.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And you can only get it from one enemy,
Mm,
which is funny that they chose a greatsword this go round.
yeah.
Well, we gotta do something different.
Well, let's
Well,
move.
yeah, I mean, but mind you, I'm talking non colossal weapons
Yeah.
Mm.
because the colossal weapons are meant to just hit like a meteorite, a bus, and a truck all at the same time.
Imagine getting hit with two of them at the same time.
Oh man, you don't exist anymore. You're just
Yeah.
isn't you're not being cleaved. You're just being mushed into paste.
I've done that to a couple of things.
It's like, hey, is that a sword? Yeah, but I use it more like an iron.
But let's move on to this fantastic character.
My man, the half beast Blide, servant of another character we will get into. This was one of my favorite characters.
Indeed.
He had a interesting story background.
He had
I
an
don't want
interesting
to
weapon
spoil
armor.
I don't want to spoil too much because you find out this is the one of the few characters the game actually goes out of its way to explain them fully.
It really does feel like the devs wrote his story and then we're so happy, like we gotta make sure nobody misses this.
Yeah. And they knew, for all you furries out there, they knew people wanted to look like him. So you can get his entire armor, set, weapon, and headpiece. Even though this character, this is his actual head.
Mhm.
But you can get his headpiece in the game actually well before you get his armor. Anything else like that,
Furries. But
guys?
he's pretty good. I did like him, but he wasn't like amazing to me. Now, if you had made him a tiger,
I
no, I
just loved
kid.
this entire story, but I don't want to say too much because it is
Yeah,
I was
just.
I
just
don't either.
I was just super jazzed when I saw him help us Radon.
Yes, I made sure I always summoned him for a Radon.
You,
Even if he died first, I'd find him and summon him again.
yeah.
Yeah, you can. That's the thing. They can die in that fight, but you can keep resummoning. I made sure I went for the jar first, but I went for him second. Everyone else, I'm like, I don't need anybody else. Just Alexander and Blood. We're good. We're good. We're good. Right, Soul? Right, Soul? Where's Soul? Oh, he's being launched into the air as he was Team Rocket.
You know who Alexander was pretty much taking over for, don't you?
No.
Well, Soul, not you, because this is your first game. Soul, this is a question for you.
uh, I want to say Sunbro, but I'm not sure how on target I am for that.
No,
I didn't think
no,
so.
not Sunbro.
Even
The
I wouldn't have
Uh,
said that.
Knight of Cantonina.
oh.
He's pretty much replacing him.
Oh, that makes sense now.
Mm-hmm. But Blide is interesting. You actually first meet him if you go into the forest and you hear him howl. Then you will go to him and he will actually ask you to help him kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this someone is a optional fight actually back in the beginning of the game. If you look at the map and you go to the right a little bit, you will see a circle. And we'll go into there. You go in there, and then it will ask you to, you'll find Blide's summoning side, and you can summon him for that fight. Unfortunately for me, I missed it because I already killed that guy. So, of course, Blide was not at the location for me.
Mm.
Now, there actually is a trick with him.
Mm-hmm.
If you agree to help Blide and then turn around and kill him, he will tell you, I cannot die. And if you go rest and go back to where you met him at the rubble, he will jump down and attack you again.
Nice.
So he is technically in until a part of the game, he is immortal.
Which I think I know why, but
Yes, that's exactly why.
I want to know, but that'll be spoilers, so I'll find out on my own.
You're actually about to find out.
mm, meet
Uh,
her his
meet the
master.
as I meet the Elden Tree
This is my favorite character.
Ronnie the Witch.
or arms. I think she's related to Goro.
She's a doll. Or a spirit in a
She's
doll.
got 4 arms.
Yeah, well, you know, if you just someone tried to make a really nice Doc Ock figure for it, wasn't very good at it.
I'll actually have to send you some fan art I actually have of her that is really nice. And don't worry, it's safe for work.
I have seen some fan art of people combining her with Yustola. I'll have to send that to you.
I gotta
That
see that
is
one.
scary. Very scary.
And either way, she is, well, just as you can see, she has kind of a ghostly face next to her face.
Yeah, that's her soul.
Yeah, in game it's
Yes.
kind of hard to tell, but in art they really do like to make it stand out, and I do like that. So
Yes.
yeah, she is basically possessing a doll.
But she is also best waifu.
Yes. She is Blade's master in all the sense of the word.
Yes.
She is the Witch of the Moon, essentially. And she is working with Ejin, which is a giant blacksmith, and her war counselor.
Who
Blade,
was an asshole.
and some asshole that's over in another tower that we don't talk about.
Yeah, I'd like to just kick
He,
him in the balls.
he sells magic. The spells he sold were completely useless to me. I had way better ones by the time I got there. So I'm like, hey, thanks for nothing.
I just stabbed him.
Also, major story point. She was also an Elden Lord,
Mm-hmm.
but she gave up that power.
Everyone else who seemed to have kept it kind of went to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even though I said I wasn't going to say it, but kind of have to, she is the reason why Bly is immortal. He is
Yep.
forever in service to her. At one point in the game, well, technically, Soul did this out of order. Technically, when you meet the chick that becomes your maiden, Rainey is technically the second character you meet because if you rest at the bonfire again at night, she's sitting there
It's
on a
optional. You
ledge.
could beat Milena before her, so it's kind of somewhat random.
See, when I played when I got to the church and then I got she agreed to be my maiden and all, and I rested, she was right there at night, so I had both of them at the same time.
I did not. I had them a few days apart in terms of resting in different places.
Yeah, mine was the same time, and she knew about the horse and kind of told me how to take care of it and kind of gives you an item for it and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But story point, she goes bye-bye for a while.
Yep.
Which, since her bodyguard is Bly, he cannot find her, he cannot follow her, he goes insane.
There's other reason for him going to
Yeah,
insane,
there's other
but
reasons, but that's one of the ones leading up to it.
Mhm. You can end
And
up in her service as well as part of the story,
mhm.
and
yes, and
following
she
that
doesn't
service.
expect to see you. She doesn't
No,
expect to see you after the first meet.
so when she sees you again, she's quite surprised and like, maybe I should hire you.
Yeah. Do
I
you
mean,
pledge your loyalty to me? Yes. All right.
following that path gave me a really good sword that I can use as a mage.
Yes.
So I like that sword. I'm still not great at it. I haven't quite figured out how to handle it myself. But that's I have to play with it more. Not my stats don't work, but
Yeah.
It'll take some time, but you'll get there.
She's also
yeah,
got
I
Because
a
like.
really nice hat.
she's one of the better NPCs and better storyline of the game.
Yeah,
Most people that played it fell in love with her immediately, hence the
yeah,
army armada of fan art
yes,
surrounding her.
yes. There's a lot of very nice and a lot of very safe work and a lot of not safe for work.
I think there's only one
Yes.
character more renowned than her, and that's for a lot of reasons.
Oh
Yes,
yes.
yes. We'll get to her in a minute, but some people like to play up the doll part of her art too, which I
Yes.
guess a furry and a doll working together is some people's real fetish that they didn't know they had.
Secretly most people are furry, even though they say they're not. I mean, it just happens. It's okay to like something that you want to keep hidden.
Yeah,
That's why we have our things that are hidden.
That's why
But
yes.
we have our inner thoughts.
exactly. But what's funny is her hat is a play on Bighorn Logan's hat from Dark Souls.
Huh. Oh yeah, you would also get her gears as well.
Yes. Yes, you get her gear as well.
It
So
looks ridiculous on everyone else besides her.
yeah, it really does.
Only she can pull it off.
There is actually a character who has a piece of gear that was in the game but taken out, and the only way to get it is modding the game.
Hmm.
And that is a character that gives you hugs and tells you stories.
Oh God.
She wears a thong.
Oh yes, and if you actually do have
And
it, that you get and they find out, the
yes,
game will report you for it.
yes, you need to play offline if you're going to wear that.
Yeah.
But you can actually angle your camera and see through her dress. Good jobs from software. That's still a problem you guys have, but don't change. Because that's how people actually saw faces of certain NPCs that were wearing helmets. Is they
Hmm.
would position the camera in such a way that the camera would wind up inside the helmet.
It's almost like
Yep.
people take these things as challenges sometimes.
They do.
Yeah. Some people do.
They
Which
do. They say you say I can't. I took that personally.
you say I can't. I say I haven't.
So
But
let's move on a little
she's
bit.
yeah, she's one of many NPCs you will run across in the game.
Let's move on to this kettle of fish. This is
Her head is stupid.
yeah, the winner of the second stupidest hat I've ever seen. The first winner still Dulala.
She kind of wears more like like a Eastern garb,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and her boss fight is utterly
Oh
ridiculous.
God.
I
So
do not care for her boss fight. It's easy. It's one of the easiest boss fights in the game.
It
I
was
still
piss
cannot stand it.
easy. Yeah, it's not. It's easy, but it's not fun.
Yeah, like you don't even feel accomplished when you beat this
it
boss.
does really start off more interesting than it ends, though.
Yes, like the whole
Yes,
people crawling towards her, the fire. That was somewhat interesting, but if you have like me and area effect spells, you kind of just like take care of the problem for yourself.
And then we go to the moon, essentially, and she starts summoning things. Like a ghost dragon.
But she's piss easy.
yeah. She has to have something. She's easy, and she's
Like,
also you go to respect once you defeat her.
she
Mm-hmm.
feels like she's a multi-stage boss who he never got to the third stage.
I think the reason she's so piss poor easy is because she's your respecker.
Yeah, that makes sense, but
They don't
because of
want
her,
that to be too hard, but I'd rather they have made it hard so I can feel accomplished. Like, yo, I want to respect because this bitch kicked my ass.
yeah, or just make the respect easier to get, like not even a fight. You just
Yeah.
have to find an
Dude,
item and
yeah,
go to a place, and then make her an interesting fight.
like they did in Dark Souls 2. I think, well, Soul told me yesterday because I forgot all about it. Is you can just go to the old crones and just respect your character.
Mm.
But she is
they wanted
Ronnie's
to eat their
mother.
cake and have it too with her, and they failed with both.
Yeah, it really failed. It
Yeah.
fell
They just
flat.
they just smushed cake all over their own face.
Yeah.
But as I say, she is Ronnie's mother. This is Renalia, the queen, or I think the goddess of the moon. I forget which one they refer to her as.
I think the goddess.
I
And
fight her in college, so I always just called her a professor.
she has a strong connection to the entire story of Elden Ring as well, because her husband is really interlinked with everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And
I
what's
should
funny
say
is you can
ex-husband.
completely miss this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I only was interested in it because as a mage, this place was a college. It had some magic there I wanted.
Yep, because it was in
Yes.
the magic college essentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, I found her the college dungeon one of my favorites I've been to, and then I come to her and I'm just like, oh, so this wonderful
The,
place, and it was ended with a big wet fart.
yeah, like the buildup was lovely. Going through
Yeah.
this college was lovely, and then you get this, and you're like, well,
So many
shit.
secret passageways behind bookshelves.
The
The
grand
big
entrance up the elevator to get to her room.
the wolf you fight midway through.
Oh God, yes, the wolf.
Yep.
If the wolf was the final boss, I would have felt better. She should have been the middle boss.
Yeah, this should have been the
Honestly, the
final
way,
boss.
Yeah.
yes, I'm glad you
Should've-
bring him up. Here is Sif 4.0.
Oh my
They,
God.
they really like their sword wielding wolves, don't they?
They do, and I can't fault them
Picture
for
if
it.
Sif with some magic swords to shoot at you.
Yeah.
You know, what really makes you sad for Sif is the DLC.
Oh God, yes.
Because if you do the DLC first and then go fight Sif, it changes that cutscene completely.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I like stuff like that.
So I'll break
Well-
it down for you, since you're probably not going to play that one. It's the very first Dark Souls. But when you first fight Sif the Great Wolf, you're kind of walking around, and he just jumps out of nowhere, looks at you, grabs a sword, swings it in his mouth, and latches onto it, and then the fight begins.
Neat.
Well, you have the DLC, you help rescue Sif when he's just a pup.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go to your current time, Sif comes out, knocks you down on the ground, and is getting ready to just eat you. And he sniffs. And he realizes or recognizes you as the one that saved him.
Mm-hmm.
So he backs off very slowly and reluctantly grabs his greatsword.
Aw.
Yeah, it made that fight a heartbreaker.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you story reasons you have to kill him because he has a ring you need to fight another boss way later in the game.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a heartbreaking scene.
Indeed.
Not adding him to the list of good boys.
Yeah, Sif the Great Wolf is one of the good ones. I actually I want to get they made a bobble of him, or like
Ooh.
a not a bobble. What's that big headed thing
Nendroid?
that they
No, not
No.
Nintendo. He's talking about the vinyl pops.
yeah, the pops.
Ah.
They made a pop of him, but he's like $80 now.
Pop finals. That's what it is.
This is a homage to that, because what's a Souls like game that doesn't have a wolf or like creature with a sword in its mouth?
It makes more sense to that pirate who uses two swords and a sword in his mouth.
Hey, Kano, come
Oh
back here.
yeah,
Check out what you
Zoro.
That was his name.
Yeah, Zoro in the Japanese, Zolo in the English, because they couldn't use Zoro because of copyright issues. Whatever.
Eh.
Well,
This
have-
would go back real quick, Soul.
Nope.
This would have been a better final boss, as M was saying. I would have rathered him as the final boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have been the final boss of the college, or at least somewhere else.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been the first boss of the college. It just like
Like they still should have had like a powerful mage in the college as a boss, but if they're not going to be the final boss and be interesting, then yeah.
I
so.
mean, you do come across other giant red wolves out in the wild.
I mean, yes. There's one actually after you fight a image of a knight, but it is just for the college section. This boss felt more fitting as
Yeah,
a magical
I
boss than the one we
he
got.
killed me like half a dozen times. She killed me once.
I just
Like
gotta
I
ask,
didn't even die to her at all.
what
Well, yeah,
mad sorcerer thought it
I'm
was a
not
good
experienced
idea
in
to
the
teach a
Souls
wolf to
franchise.
summon swords?
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, see, you lost once and still beat her, and it's your first time.
Yeah,
That's what I mean by she was a weak boss.
this guy he handed me my ass and dug a hole from the backyard several times. Like I'll admit, this dog kicked my ass. I have no shame of saying it.
Why did we
She
teach
Yeah,
this
she
dog
did
to
not kick
summon
my ass, and I'm
swords?
saying that to her shame. Uh,
onward soul.
yes.
Onward and forward. This
Does
is
he have
the fire giant.
does he have a face for a torso?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Okay, then I haven't fought him yet.
He is a story. He's not a story boss per se, but it's a story location,
Hmm.
and you have to deal with him.
Hmm.
Does he talk out of his torso stomach? If that torso face?
No, he spits fireballs out of his torso. Actually,
Yeah. Tracking
Oh, okay.
fireballs.
Oh,
yeah, he's technically not a difficult boss, but if you're unsure how to deal with him, it is very challenging.
Especially
ooh,
when
I
he
like
pulls
that.
out his shield and rides around like a sled.
Yeah, and that sled can kill you if you're in front of
And
it.
he is massive. He's bigger than Radon.
Well, you
Yeah,
don't call someone a giant unless they're giant sized.
exactly. But this I will. The one thing I will give this over the other games besides Bloodborne,
Mm.
a lot of the bosses, like main bosses, were completely different. None of
Mm.
them fought the same as the other.
Mm.
And Bloodborne, it was the same way. Where except for Bloodborne, unfortunately, and I say this in a good way, unfortunately for Bloodborne, they went that extra mile that none of the bosses were the same. Not a
Ah,
single one.
that
Unless
much.
you were doing the chalices, which then that's understandable.
Yeah.
It's a
But
boss refight thing.
yeah,
That
but
makes sense.
all the bosses in all the worlds or zones always different. You never fought the same boss.
Hmm.
Then
And
again,
that's where like their other games did fail. Be it like Dark Souls. Your very first boss is the Asylum Demon. Well, you fight that same boss 5 other times as a
yeah.
boss, just a stronger variant.
Yeah, it's just the same species of demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Bloodborne, they made sure you never fought the same boss.
Mm.
Even Elden Ring, your main bosses were all different.
Hmm.
But when it came to your side dungeons, that's when you started getting repetitive with your bosses.
Then
Like the
again,
cat
with like
goyles.
90 something bosses.
I mean, yeah, I'm not expecting every one of them to be different
Yeah.
with 90 some bosses.
Heavens no.
But that's why I don't fault them for extra side dungeons because that I'm expecting to fight the same boss 5 times.
Well,
Yeah.
here's how I view fighting the same bosses. You fight the way they hoped you would do is you fight the weaker versions, so you can build up learning their moves and when to dodge. So when you fight the big bad version boss, you know the timing for excuse me, the dodges, so you're better equipped to fight them.
Yeah, and you're not
Yes.
getting hit by a truck as
Yeah.
often.
The truck will still back over at least once.
Oh yeah, because a truck's still a truck. But like I said, I just kind of find this fire giant fun because, like I said, he grabs his giant shield, slides around on it like a sled. And if you don't pay attention to what you're supposed to be doing, he will wreck your shit.
I like the sound of
Very
that.
easily.
I look forward to fighting him.
Because he does. He is fast and he uses his size easily to his advantage. Like, Radon still tried to hit you with his swords and everything like this. This guy knows he's massive and tries to crush you.
Yeah, respect.
Yeah, you got no choice. It's either that or be
But I-
flattened.
But I believe we're going on to the most infamous of the bosses.
Okay, who wants to say the line?
The woman that does not know defeat. The woman that has conquered many a battlefield.
I
A
am
woman
Millennia,
who
Blade of
strips
Mikkel.
butt ass naked and still fights you. The woman who is now infamously known from one man. Let me solo her. The one and only. She needs no introduction. Melania.
Blade of
Queen
Mikilla.
of the Scarlet Rot.
And she actually has some of the interesting backstory as well with her.
I
She
think
is the origin of the blood rot. Or the
Which, that's
Scarlet
a
Rot, I'm
fun.
sorry. I keep saying blood rot, but it's Scarlet Rot.
Yeah, yeah. The Scarlet Rot's a fun stat to deal with.
Oh, God.
But design-wise, I think she's my favorite of the human-sized bosses,
Oh, yes.
except for her second form. But her second form has more of a flower motif to it.
Yeah.
I don't like
She
flowers.
has, I believe both her lower legs are prosthetic, and she has a prosthetic right arm.
Yes.
No, one leg is real, one's prosthetic, one arm is real, and one arm is prosthetic.
Okay, so
Oh,
it's one to
so
one.
she's Edward Elric.
Yes.
Exactly.
I can respect that. But yeah, that katana, the animations with that are really cool. And apparently there's a little nice feature that if you do one of the emotes that makes you lie flat on your ass on the ground, she can't hit you with some attacks because she just flies over you.
It's
Yes.
amazing to
That is
watch.
goddamn hilarious. But yes, the legendary player let me solo her wants to only solo her. He fought her, what, 200 times?
200 plus times to the point from software. Sent
Or
him.
his two. I'm sorry, just give me a second.
Yeah, on his 200th victory.
No,
He
not
got-
200, 2000th.
2000s, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically just camped outside her place, helping random people 2,000 times. He did it while wearing a jar on his head, nothing but his tidy whities and 2 katanas.
Yes, and after the 2000th victory, thank you, Soul, they sent him her sword.
Yeah,
Yep.
A
replica of-
real life replica of her sword for his achievement.
Yep.
That's how you do fan service, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
I'm
there
talking to
are-
you, Cloud.
No. What you do is you buy a figure of him and get a free NFT with it too.
God damn it.
Yeah, they are still pushing Square NFTs.
They need to get rid of that.
Yeah, please do. Please
But,
do. Okay,
there,
just a side note. Square Enix is a company with 2 heads. There's the head that's an ass hat, and then there's Yoshi P.
The one that's keeping the company afloat.
Yeah,
Pretty
that
much.
dude is doing a Herculean effort, and if 16 doesn't do well, I'll be terrified.
but
Yeah.
back to
But yeah.
point.
Yeah, this isn't. There's like you can just type in on YouTube, "Let me solo her," and you're good. You don't even need context of the fight.
Now, don't be fooled. This is not an easy fight.
Oh no.
He is indeed the hardest boss in the game.
There are 3 reasons why she's so difficult, I find. Number 1, she is probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest, boss in the game.
Well, she's one of the fastest, but also one of the smallest. That is not a fun combo.
Yeah, but as where most bosses give you time, they have wind-ups. She has a wind-up. Don't be fooled. She winds up. But where most bosses you got 20 seconds to a wind-up, her you got 5.
Yeah. All she does is she leans kind of back and then she attacks. That's it.
Yeah.
Not like
Also, when she hits you, she heals.
Yeah, she heals, and while also applying Scarlet Rot to you.
She also has multi-hitting attacks.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean, very fitting though for a woman who's never known defeat.
Yes.
Now, slight spoilers here, but you'll have to forgive me because I love the story with this. She is the one that inflicted Radon with his Scarlet Rot.
Yeah, Rodan, the first boss we mentioned, who's basically a brick frickin' wall.
And they
She's
fought
being-
to a standstill.
Well, it's more implied that she won the long run because of the rod.
Yeah. But in the initial battle, it was a standstill.
She was
Yes.
forced to use her Scarlet Rot technique that she tries not to use. It was also...
Tell that to us.
yeah.
I mean, technically, we have to beat her down first before she does it
Well,
on
here's
us.
the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
It was told in legend that she would bloom 3 times, and on her 3rd bloom, she would be reborn as a goddess. Guess what number she's at when she fights us?
4?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I figured so.
Also, a funny thing. Completely optional.
Yeah.
Huh.
You do not have to fight her.
Nope.
You actually have to get 2 special items to even get to the part of the map she's on.
There
Wow.
is at least 4 optional bosses you don't have to touch to get and to finish the game.
That is how you do super bosses, in my opinion.
Yeah. She's one of the hidden super bosses. Even though she is tied to the story,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to fight her.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying.
Yeah. And she's
Well deserved
a
of being terrifying
terrifying
because
foe.
Jesus
Like,
Christ.
honestly, I'd like to see her and Sephiroth get in a battle.
I wouldn't. That's not a fair fight for Sephiroth.
That's why I want to see it.
Oh, okay. Okay. You just want to see Sephiroth get his ass handed to him by someone who knows to use a longsword.
Well, honestly, though, it's kind of hard to say. I'm attesting this to Crisis Core, which I'm still debating if I'm gonna get the new one so I can play it on stream. But
Yeah,
he
I'll probably start
slices
streaming
a
that tomorrow
fucking
night.
cannon to pieces, which I'm calling bullshit on.
Mm.
Masamune, well, he's actually wielding a Masamune Odachi.
Mm-hmm.
That sword should break hitting that iron of that cannon.
Mm.
But he sliced up the Midgar cannon like it was paper.
Yep.
So if he's doing that to a cannon, but somehow cannot slice through the Buster Sword, makes me question a lot of things.
Yeah. Suspension of disbelief has some problems.
Yeah. How are you slicing through a cannon but not swords?
What is Cause Buster Sword made of? Oh, it's condensed Christmas fruitcakes.
Exactly.
Sorry,
But
it's nearing Christmas time. Someone had to make a fruitcake joke.
exactly. Also, though, with her prosthetic arm on her right, that sword is actually connected to the arm.
Yeah, it looks like it doesn't really have a proper handle, so it being connected to her hand makes sense.
My question
Yeah,
is,
so
how does she
there's a
store that
part-
thing into her arm?
Probably someone made it for her, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But she is an optional super boss. She does not fuck around. Even in her second form, she is slightly easier in her second form.
Yeah, she has a bit more delay for certain things.
Yes, but she also almost has a one-hit kill move in her second form. That if you do not time your roll right, you are dead.
Yep. Or you're
Unless
just
you have a
Scarlet
shit
Rotted.
ton of health, then
And a
you
shit-
have Scarlet Rot, which will then kill you because guess what? If you don't have a Ash Faith with you or another meat shield, you're not gonna be able to clear your Scarlet Rot while she's slashing at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no quick way of cure.
Scarlet Rot is a very bad poison.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
now we are at the crossroads of things because now we can't really say too much more without going into very huge spoiler territories with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's time we brought the conversation back to the start of this,
Sure.
with a lot of it
Did-
being one part the community, one part I want to say trying to think of the word accessibility.
Ah, yes.
Because when this was first released, there was a huge commotion about accessibility and the gaming community with this one.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that I find is that I find a lot of people misunderstood what they mean by accessibility.
Yes.
What I find to be accessibility is making it so that anybody could read the subtitles or having options to set so that you can adjust how
Controls.
the controls, how touchy certain things are.
Colorblind modes.
Mhm.
Things to make it easier to assess this game, to access this stuff.
This game doesn't need to tell you which way the arrow came from. I'm pretty sure that which way it came is in your body would be a pretty good indicator.
Yeah,
Mm.
you know, when you have an arrow sticking out of your back, I'm pretty sure that came from behind.
Especially when said arrow is 8 feet fucking long.
Yeah, the arrow is half the length of your body.
Minotaurs.
Unless it's Radon, then it's your body plus.
Yeah.
But look, when it's Radon, you know where it came from. Kind of hard to miss a Radon.
I would just like to say this. Me and M, we were in the underground area with the Minotaur ghosts.
Yes.
I saw an arrow whiz by, so I put up my shield just to see where it came from. Next minute later, I'm telling M to come up here and take a look at this. And on the far side of the map is where he's sniping us from with accuracy.
Oh yes, and don't run into a pack because then you got 3 or 4 of them doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They will end you quick with just them arrows.
yeah,
they're
and
not nice.
that's. But some people wanted a hit indicator for being hit by those arrows.
Hey, guess what? The arrow is the hit indicator.
Yeah, there are some things, you make things easy for some people, but there are other times you do need to call, hey, this is the design of the game, we don't need to add in. Because one of the goals of Elden Ring was to have as minimum of a UI as they could.
In fact, they received a lot of criticism from dun, da, 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 Ubisoft. Ubisoft
Oh, I remember.
was uber mad at them, where they were writing on Twitter and forums like, "We've made our UIs amazing, beautiful, customizable. This, that. These guys got nothing. Why is everybody praising them?" And it's just like, dude, chill. It's just
You
chill.
know what the best thing that came out of that was? 5 minutes, almost like 5 minutes later, someone did a meme about Ubisoft's HUD displays.
Yeah.
It was a
Now,
And made
glorious
fun
mess.
of them.
Yeah, I have some problems with their UI for their inventory system, but their map system and the actual game UI, I love it.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a guy who thinks the most well-designed game UI comes from the Persona 5 2 games.
Mhm.
Because
Never played a Persona.
I recommend just playing 5.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard too.
I'd
Yeah.
also like to say this real quick.
Mhm.
I love this map. It felt wide open and
I liked how the map wasn't bloody well crowded.
yeah, it didn't feel crowded, but at the same time it didn't feel barren.
Yeah.
Like
Like, there are 3 open world maps I think are done the best. Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild is pretty good, even though after a while it gets filled with all the shrines. And Sonic Frontiers, but also that gets filled with some things. But the thing is, they're usually spaced out wide enough so you don't have like 7 things in one spot clustered on top of each other.
Looking at you, Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like if you have a whole bunch of quests in 14 and haven't done these quests yet, and there's the teleport symbol too, and then there's the chocobo symbol and the mail symbol, and you're
yeah,
just like,
I don't mean even just that. I meant like enemy wise. Like it doesn't
oh,
feel
yeah.
like the place is barren.
No, there's stretches of nothing for a bit to let you catch your breath. And then there are little villages filled with monsters to jump you. There are graveyards with monsters to jump you. There are open fields with monsters, but you can still find places where you can catch your breath, which is good. You don't need to fill an open world game to the point where it's overflowing with content because you want people to enjoy your world. Yes,
Looking
we
at
are.
you, Bethesda, because you're terrible. Your open
Yes.
world's as empty as it is lifeless.
hmm
And then there are the dungeons that you go into where this is where the game is trying to kill you.
Yes. You will die in the open world.
Yes.
But the dungeons are where you'll be like, okay, I made it 5 steps further this time.
Yes. The dungeons are where the test is.
Yeah. The dungeons are a game of inches.
Like the worst thing in the open world is running across a random mini boss.
Or dragon.
Oh,
Or the field of
God.
dragons.
Remind me to tell you the dragon story, Ice.
Oh boy.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
there are places that are do not enter zones in the open world. But they're also pretty well broadcast too.
yeah,
Rarely will you turn around a cliffside and there's a boss waiting to punch you in the face.
yeah. I was going to Rodon's castle when I wasn't supposed to, and then Mr. Giant there told me to go away by stomping on me.
He made you go away.
There's that one like mansion where the giants are like launching turrets at you, but you can see them from a good distance away. But they also can hit you from a good distance away.
Yeah,
That's why you use your horse and you run like hell and get as close as you can. I
Yes.
mean, the game gives you many ways to
Yeah.
attack it. You're
Yeah.
not always stuck with.
The open world is open. You have ways of playing around. The dungeons, that's where they decide to make little boxes for you to play in with their rules.
yeah,
Some of these dungeons, there are sneak paths. Some of these dungeons, you can think outside the box. But generally, you're given 1 or 2 options. Open world, you can go by horse, you can go by stealth, you can go by, I don't give a rat's ass, I'm running in, swinging my sword, screaming, Wolverine. Generally, that third one will get you kind of dead.
Eh,
Oh yeah.
But if you're high enough level and high enough skill, no, you'll be quite terrifying. I've seen some people let's play this game where zero chill and untouched.
I'm looking at you, Rivers of Blood.
I haven't watched that channel in a while. That sounds good.
My favorite katana, which is funny because that katana got 2 nerfs and it's still OP as fuck.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Why?
remember that red katana you gave my samurai M?
Oh yeah, you were so giddy about that. Anyway, but yeah, plus you can play this game with 2 companions, and if they're your friends, you can really go buck wild by making an actual proper like D&D style party.
Mm-hmm. We plan on
Which,
getting our one friend to try and get into this, and she's gonna be our ranger.
yeah,
Because as I said before, this game made, especially if you're with companions, made the bow and arrow a lot more viable option.
hmm there are swords, rapiers, whips, claws. I love the claws. Great swords, Zweihanders, katanas,
Colossal
po-
swords,
pole arms,
Great
um,
clubs,
great clubs,
daggers,
axes, daggers, bows,
halibuts.
arrows, crossbows.
heavy
It has
crossbows.
it has a large array of weaponry. If you're not a fan of one particular weapon or weapons, you will find others that will quickly replace
Mm-hmm.
it that you will love even more.
Not to
hmm
The
mention,
f-
like, over 20 spells in each category.
Yep.
yes.
The Ashes of War to further augment your play style.
And like we were saying before, there are like, okay, you can, there's like, I don't know the exact number, there are maybe like 5 rapiers, and they all play similar, but they each have a slight difference. So if you want to play a rapier, you might like, well, not like the first one you find, but the second one, oh, that one might handle just the right speed.
Mm-hmm. And not all of them need the exact same stats in order to be able to use. Some of them might need faith, some of them might need more dex.
hmm
So you might be
Yes.
doing a certain build, but you might find a weapon that you like that will still suit that build.
Yeah. Like I said, I have an intelligence and dex build, so can use whips, claws, and staffs, and I have just enough strength to use the sword I got from Ronnie, which love that sword. Still haven't mastered yet. And you can on the fly have weapons equipped and change them without having to go to the menu. So
Mm-hmm.
when I get like when something gets far too close, I switch to my claws and I equip one claw and it becomes dual claws, so I can fight really close up. But if
I'm
they're
glad
mid
you
range,
said that. That was a good change because originally you had to have 2 of them.
yeah, Paul told me that, and I'm like, oh hey, can I? And I instantly made a second claw appear in my hand. I'm like, oh, and that's my weapon I use when I get PvP jump. Like someone gets too close, like I can't hit with my magic or I can't whip them. I just claw them in the face, and they don't use Disrespect Mage to just start clawing at them with flame claw.
Yes, it was a good thing they did that because they wanted to cut down on people having 2 of the same weapon, especially for those types. Because if you want to talk about a weapon that is not worthwhile in a Souls game, it's usually the claws, the knuckles, stuff like
Yeah.
that. They're usually the worst weapons in the game to use.
Yeah, because you'd have to have one equipped and then have to get a second one equipped. I just have to switch over to them and push one button down. I've got 2.
Yes. I mean, but
Which,
they're still bad. They're
hmm,
still bad even that way because a lot of times when you're attacking enemies and bosses, you want them to be able to rear back from the assault you're giving them.
mhm,
Those type of weapons generally do not do that.
no,
So the boss is just going to power through that and still attack you. But if
but
you're
they're
good
great.
enough,
They're great PvP.
oh yeah, they're excellent for PvP. Somebody
There's
actually has a video called Wolverine Elden Ring. Can you beat the game with just claws?
That sounds like a fun challenge. But
Oh
yeah,
yes,
if they get close to me, I like to put myself in a corner usually so I have more open view.
yeah.
I
The
roll past them, change the claw, and all of a sudden, hey, they're in the corner now. Slash 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 slash.
I also like you brought up being able to switch your how you hold your weapon, Ed, because that also plays a part with the two-handing a weapon.
Yes, if you don't have high enough stats, sometimes you can two-hand a weapon, and all of a sudden you do have high enough
Mm-hmm.
stats. It makes the weapon hold differently, so it moves differently, blocks differently, but you can still use weapon if you want to. When Soul first got that gut sword he wanted, which it is literally the sword from Berserk,
Mm-hmm. It's
as
his
an
mercenary
homage
Yep.
sword.
to the passing of the great creator of Berserk.
Well, that sword has always been in the Soul series.
Or a
Well,
variation of it, yes.
they
Yeah.
did change the model of the sword because of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, Soul couldn't first use it because it was stupidly heavy, so he...
Yeah, I think it's like 45 strength to even wield the damn
Yeah.
thing with one hand.
And he's running around wielding two now,
Yeah.
which makes no goddamn sense, but also Soul's running around using with a giant shield on his back too, so he should be slowing the hell down with all that weight.
And that shield regenerates my health.
So I actually used to use the jellyfish shield.
Ah,
And where people messed up with the jellyfish shield is it's not meant for blocking.
no.
It's meant to boost your attack.
Yes.
Ooh.
Physical attack, not magical. There is another item, however, that is used for magical attack.
Mm.
So you have multiple ways to play,
Yes.
multiple ways to build yourself. There's guides online.
And there's also just experimentation.
Yeah, like I told Em, just
experimentation.
grab a bunch of weapons and see what you like.
I
Yeah.
did. And I was like,
Also,
at
you
first
want power within.
yes,
If you don't have that, you want that spell.
yes. But as I was saying, when I saw the whips were an option, I really wanted a whip. But until I got them, I figured I'd try a spear. Did not like spears. The lances were not my cup of tea. Got my whip, my very first whip, and I think I started humming the Castlevania main theme.
I was about to say.
Yep. You know what's even fun? Dual wielding them. One
Yes.
is magma and one is spikes.
I have dual wielded the sword and the regular leather whip once.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was Trevor Belmont in that one scene of season 3.
Yes.
I do have one.
Unfortunately for me, it did not work out that well because the boss got past me and then punched me in the face.
I do have to say one thing that really takes the piss out of this game for me, though. Walking through lava like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I should not be wading through this like it's a kiddie pool.
I'm sorry. Too many games have made me expect my character to jump up in the air holding his ass on fire.
Looking at you, Mario.
My butt is flaming.
I miss
Zappa.
Zarbon.
But yeah, before we get on another tangent, I do think that Elden Ring deserves the praise it got. And while it wasn't my choice for Game of the Year, it should have won Game of the Year.
Yeah,
It was rightfully deserving. It did win Game of the Year.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. What I meant was the Fan Choice Award.
Yeah, I don't see how Genshin Impact won that, but that's my own personal beef.
It's not even a game released this year.
I don't want to go spreading
Yeah.
the rumors on that one, so I'll hold my
Oh
peace on
no,
that.
that rumor is true. I actually
Yeah,
tried
that's
tried-
actually
I-
been proven.
I've tried voting, and Frontiers was the only one I couldn't pick on, and it was winning second place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Elden Ring got what it needed.
yes, it was definitely the biggest game that came at the start of this
of
year.
the year. Yes.
And
God of War was more of the heavier hitting one at the end of the year.
yes, but it wasn't one that was interested to me. This one was so different. And it's nice to be rewarded with a nice different taste. Yes, it's part of the Souls franchise, and there are several Souls games, but it's even different compared to the Souls franchise.
Oh yes, there's plenty of differences that actually sets this game. It's enough different that I could be like, no, this is a new genre of game.
But you
Yeah.
still know where its roots came from, pun intended.
Yeah.
Yes. And what's nice is this game didn't pretend to be something it's not.
No.
either.
Yeah, the closest game I can compare it to is, without even joking, is Breath of the Wild. They both, you can clearly see where they came from lineage-wise, but they took their family lineage and changed it all.
And
Yes, you can cook in this game.
Yeah.
You can cook. You can make certain items for yourself.
You can
You find
with poisons or lightning effects.
yes, which has always been something with the Souls series, which is always nice.
But now you can-
As you stated earlier, it is a literal D&D campaign.
yeah.
you can make it as much as you want it to be.
Now, there is one thing we are almost forgetting to discuss:
Oh,
how to fix our PvP issues.
yeah, I don't like the just jump you. There's too much, because if you want to play with your friends, you might want to just play with your friends. You don't always want to have to worry about, hey, I'm online now. That means I'm open to be invaded.
Yes, but like I
Yeah,
said,
like you two trying to enjoy an adventure, and then here I come, slash, you're dead. Haha, losers, leave.
Yeah, because oftentimes you get paired with someone who is way better at the game than you are,
Now, there was a recent DLC released for just PvP.
which was good for them. Like
Mhm.
I like the idea of a pure, dedicated thing for the PvPers. Let them have this Coliseum. Let them go nuts with it. Let them make teams. Let them have tournaments. I look forward to watching some tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching them, and it is amazing.
I've not seen
I
that.
may even try and participate in some of them this weekend if
I
I have
will
the
tell you
time.
this now: if you do decide to do that,
Mm,
make a new character that is strictly built for PvP.
hmm That makes sense. But before we started talking, Ice brought up how Bloodborne handled PvP, and I
Indeed.
think this is a much better compromise.
Yes,
Uh,
so this is the Bell Maiden. She rings the sinister bell. If you summon Soul or myself to say join your game, or both of us, because you can summon two people, she appears, and the game will alert you to her presence. You just need to find her and kill her, and it'll say the sinister bell has been silenced. Now, PvP is off the table.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer have to worry about it. Unless the host dies and then resummons, then it's rinse and repeat. But generally, what they did, which is nice, she always spawns in the same location every time.
hmm
So you can just run straight to it, kill her, move on. And
Now,
she's usually in a space that's not dangerous.
yes.
That's yeah. So while I think a off button for invaders would be the ultimate solution, it would very much defeat their idea of the game. So having this as a compromise is wonderful. It's a great
Mm-hmm.
compromise.
Yes. Another thing I'll say, the only thing I really do like about Elden Ring, which we didn't talk about,
Mm.
was you have the spirit ashes that you can
Oh, I
summon.
almost forgot.
Yes, that you can summon, so you kind of get a helper or helpers, but they're not a player, they're AI
Yeah. You
controlled.
can summon them
I,
in certain areas.
you can't
Yes.
summon when you were with an allies though.
No, no. Then they're off the table because then that's a little OP
Yeah.
because there's some that are more tanky.
Or you
There's the
can just summon
mimic
another
that mimics,
you.
yep, that
Yep.
summons you, or
Which
the cheating one, which got nerfed and is still OP, is the Black Thief,
oh I haven't
which uses Black Fire,
Oh, God.
which you lose a nice chunk of your health bar because it's being burned away. And you can beat a ton of bosses this way. So if you're a person that likes to play solo, but you want help, the Spirit Ashes is the way to go. Do not listen to people on the extreme side of the spectrum saying you have to use nothing, just your own
Mhm.
skill, because yes, I have beaten every Souls game to date. I'm not the best. I know a lot of the strategies, but I'm not the best at it. And the last thing I will ever tell anyone is do not play this game this way. I don't care if you want to play this game butt naked, wielding spaghetti to beat the game. If you want to do that, go for it.
Yep.
Do not listen to the toxic forums
Yeah. There is
of. Oh, go ahead.
there is one side of the Souls franchise that is pure toxic, and it's the ones that say, if you don't do X, get the hell out. No,
Yeah.
don't listen to them.
Mhm.
And if
So,
people try to measure themselves to them, you're doing it wrong.
mhm.
Remember, at
Mhm.
the end of the day, it is a video game for your enjoyment.
If that enjoyment is challenge runs, challenge the crap out of you. If it's just, I want to play an hour of Elden Ring and have the easiest time I can, then enjoy that hour.
I'm somewhere in the middle with this.
I started to enjoy more of the difficult sides to it. I figured I would, but I wanted to be eased in.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have it ease in, I might finish Elden Ring and I might go backwards.
Yes,
And
I
that's,
mean, it's great. It's great for that.
yeah, the, it's always nice to have fresh blood into a franchise because they might have new ideas you never thought of, or they might just get the game to sell better so we get a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Plus,
think
not
of
to
how much.
mention having somebody else in your
Let's
game changes so many
let,
strategies.
Now let's have a quick pause for every franchise that we have. personally have played that has died off because there weren't enough players for it.
Warhammer Eternal Crusade.
You know,
I
I'm
miss-
looking for that game,
I
but I
miss you,
just can't
Project
see
Cross
it.
Zone. I miss you.
I know there's a game like that, but it seems to have vanished on me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The last one I thought of, I got my heart ripped out by a doctor.
That does not oddly narrow it down.
No, it really doesn't.
Actually, it does. It's right on the screen now.
What? I don't see anything.
I just see that
So-
merchant over there.
It's just a black screen. Oh wait, I think that might be. Why is the? It just.
So,
You know,
ladies
there's-
and gentlemen, I'd like to thank
Okay,
you
I
for...
found a grace.
Oh, wait.
I
so
didn't kill them. I opted not to slay them both this time.
Woohoo! We get to live!
Yeah, next time we'll be covering a franchise very near and dear to soul that I barely know anything about as well. Tenchu.
Aha. That
Tenchu
is...
was an amazing series.
Oh my
I
god,
definitely
yes.
think I would have liked it, but unfortunately it died.
Did you like
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid 2?
No, I never played Metal Gear Solid 2, but I played the crap out of 3 and 5.
Think the originator of those.
Ooh.
But
Tenchu Z was an amazing
yes.
stealth game. In fact, Sekiro is its successor.
Mhm.
Ooh.
It was From Software's attempt of saying, "Hey, we want to try a Tenchu game, but with Souls-like elements, but its own game." Like
Yeah.
Sekiro and when I mean Souls-like elements, I just mean the die and repeat, and repeat.
I
Other than that, Sekiro is a completely separate game from the Soul series.
I think
Plays completely different.
yeah, I think the only game closer to Tenchu is Ghost of Tsushima for a modern day remake.
Mm,
Somewhere,
no,
somewhere in the middle between those two, I'm thinking it might be.
yeah, Sekiro is more along the lines because you had the hook and everything. Only difference is you were killing monsters and
Yeah.
people.
Well, I'd just say more the stealth element and taking with the stealth combat. Like
I could see that. I could see
Yeah.
that.
So,
I mean, because
really-
all Hitman is technically the modern day version of Tenchu.
yes, I fucking love Hitman.
yes. Now, before we continue on, we ramble these people's minds off even more. Let's say our goodbyes, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh wait, we did forget something.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes. What besides PvP is something the game could do differently, could make it better? And I have one being a avid Souls player.
oh,
I'm curious. Continue.
I wish the game did better storytelling.
yes. The environmental storytelling is grand, but sometimes it's nice to be a little bit more.
Yes, the Souls games always did not do a good job of storytelling. Yes, I know this is an open world or a dungeon crawler, and that's pretty much the focus, and they give you the main story. But they have so much lore that they throw in there that it does take the entire community to come together and piece all this lore together. That's fine, but most people do not want to sit there and go to a forum and read for hours on the lore.
If my only option to get the lore is to go to Reddit, which is a site I have blocked because I can't stand that site, the lore is inaccessible to me.
Yes, and it makes it difficult for people that are, say, story nerds.
Hello.
They want story, and you are taking that portion away from them.
What I have pieced together, I have greatly enjoyed, but I don't have the patience to piece this together because I have a life to live.
Yes,
I
and
have a dozen other games I want to play. Some of them are very lore intensive, some of them are very gameplay intensive, so I don't have time to sit back and think.
yes, and that was one of my issues with the Souls franchise. Is this is a constant. This has been a thing even since Armored Core. Like
Yeah,
you don't know
no.
how a lot of the companies came to be in Armored Core. They're already there.
Now, I'm
and-
guessing you don't want them to sit you down and explain every goddamn
Yeah,
thing.
I don't want that either. I mean, and yes, the middle ground for them is, hey, we tell you the main story and then that's it. You need to piece everything else together.
Yeah.
But I
think
wouldn't
these-
mind an NPC that might give you, say, a minute's worth of dialogue
Hmm.
talking about, say, the region you're in.
Yeah.
That way, yeah, it's not a complete lore dump, but it's
And you don't
enough.
have to talk to that
I
character.
think the biggest
Yeah.
lore dump you get is the intro in the game, and that's pretty much about it until you get near the end.
Yeah, that intro at the
Yeah.
beginning is vague as heck.
Yeah, it's very
I'm just
vague.
saying, I
But
think that's the most you get, and the rest is just all pieced together.
yeah, yes,
On a scale of like 1 to 10, 1 being they explain everything to you like you're a goddamn idiot, and 10 being they
they
throw you in the
explain
middle of the...
nothing.
I would want the Souls games to be in the 7.5 range.
Yeah, it sounds about right to me.
Yeah, because right now it's a, a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a
It's
9.
not the most vague thing I've ever seen,
Yeah,
but
like some of my favorite areas in other JRPGs that are closer to like 3 or 4 or even 2 are the spots where they decided to be incredibly vague. Because it's a chance for them to do something a little bit different and for me to stretch my own brain because, hey, I've learned about this world. How does this place work in this world? Those are fun for me. I generally don't usually like, though, games that are like 3 to 2 in terms of let's explain every goddamn thing to you unless you're an idiot. Or I do not like this game's 9 to 10 range.
Yeah, it needs to be more in the middle.
But I don't think every game should be 5 because that just makes everything too homogenous.
yeah.
And the last thing we want is every game to be like every game.
I mean, look at God of War, unfortunately.
It,
Now,
But that's one of the gripes I have with the game. Another gripe is part of the charm of the game,
mm,
but need to make the game a little bit more fluid because a
mm,
lot of times you're more like a brick moving
I'm actually
around.
glad you brought that up because there is something I was going to remember to mention, and as much as I didn't want to bring them back up, but a certain person said there's a delay in the controls. That's
It is
accurate and inaccurate at the same
at the
time.
same time. Yes,
hello, I've
there
seen that.
is there is literally a split-second delay from when you push the button to your character reacting to that press. Now, a common gamer, it may feel that, hey, the controls are off because I've hit the button and
Mhm.
it's taken a moment before my character reacts to the press.
We're all generally most games are very snappy.
Yes, and the Souls franchise has always been not snappy. I mean, yes, you could easily say, okay, I just need to hit it that split second earlier to make up for that split second difference. Though, if you hear people say, "Oh, it's way off," it's not.
No.
It's
What it
so the
is
breakdown, the actual breakdown.
mhm.
If your controller is plugged in, it's a little bit of a delay, and I mean it's minuscule. You 9 times out of 10 aren't even going to notice it. When you are playing wirelessly, that's when it is a split second.
Yeah, you will notice it more often when you're wireless. Not always. Sometimes the wireless control is perfect, but it's not a
Yes.
consistent thing. It's not
Yeah.
so you
There
can
is one other
100...
thing that slightly slows it down. You have a bit of a windup with the weapon, and it's
Mhm.
different between each weapon.
I'll
Yes.
say this: there's a bunch of games that have the Soul style delay to controls as on purpose. What I played in Elden Ring has definitely been along the lines of I can see these frames. I can tell, oh, this is when it's safe. This is when it's not so safe with experimentation. Another game that people told me I'd like very much like this in terms of control was Near Automata. I never figured out when the dodge was safe, like when the invincibility frames of that dodge was.
Mm-hmm.
Never would.
Yeah,
I
the
know they exist, but I could not figure it out in the time it took me to figure out the dodge in Elden Ring.
And the prime example.
yeah.
Go ahead, Ice.
The thing with Nier, it's actually funny, is Nier there's no punishment for actually just mashing
It
the
felt like
dodge
I
button.
got punished, but
You
that
could
was just
actually spam it and keep having 2B, 9S, A2 disappear, reappear, disappear, reappear, disappear, reappear, disappear, and you could just do it infinitely. As long as the attack was going, you can keep doing it.
I dislike that even more.
Yes, it's one of those. It's like you'll hear a, and you can just keep doing it until the attack is finally finished. There is no need for a cooldown. There is no build up. You just doom and just keep doing it. Like, oh, this fist is coming at me. Just start spamming the button because 2B does not move
The game also,
until
the game
it
also
gets
never
to
told,
that point.
the game also never told me that, so that's also bad game design there.
Yeah, it just tells you, oh, use this button to dodge, but it doesn't tell
And
you.
99% of games where you hit the dodge button, if you fuck up the dodge and get hit, that's it.
Yeah, in this game, there is no punishment for it. You just keep hitting it, and it's gonna catch. It's gonna catch and just start doing it. And the reason they honestly did that is for the hardest difficulty in the game, which, yes, I'm gonna say the wrong name here, but it's equivalent to Dante Must Die mode. It's 2B Must Die mode. One hit, you're dead.
Well, I mean, he must, but that's just how I feel about that franchise.
Yeah. And that was what it was, is you just kept doing that, and you would just infinitely do that because there's an item you get in the game where it increases your attack power, but you receive 2 times the damage. Well, if you're playing 2B Must Die mode, it doesn't matter, you're dead in one hit anyway.
Yeah, okay.
It essentially turns the game into Metal Slug. No.
Okay, that's a game I was not expecting to brought up. But anyway, yeah, the delay in Elden Ring feels intentional, and it's an intentional you can learn. But if anyone tells you it's easy to learn, uh,
Because it's
It
also
is
a
not.
little bit different between the weapons. M has
yeah,
with his whips faster, but when I was two-handing my greatsword, you could see my character lift the sword to the shoulder to start to swing, and then
and
after that,
also with the whip, if I miss, it actually takes me a few more seconds than if Soul misses with the swords to get back into the attack animation.
Yes.
but you
Which
see
is
the character step into that animation to readjust their swing.
hmm
So that's another thing with the game. Animation is key in the Soulsborne series.
so.
You
Can
need
we?
to know.
Should we mention? Should we bring up animation lock then?
Yes, there are certain things that will get you animation locked, but
Are they
I agree.
jumping?
Yeah, jumping will definitely do it. Certain spells will do it. Certain swings will do it. There's a multitude of things that can get you an animation lock, but it can also be baiting. Like
Yes.
Soul using the Ultra Great Swords, they're actually terrible for PvP. But you don't want to lock on to the target. You want to swing it, even though yes, it has a large recovery time. But when the person goes to roll behind you for the backstab, since you never locked on and you initiate that swing, you can turn around 360 and your character will spin around in the swing and hit the target.
I will have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that'll be useful. So, this podcast has been recording for ages, I believe, Soul.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah. Oh, one more thing before we do
Yes, yes.
finish.
Don't get
I
me wrong.
wanted to explain the invincibility frames.
Oh yes.
The invincibility frames, which I did a lot of trial and error on, and I learned them in Dark Souls before I learned them in Demon Souls, even though I played Demon Souls first. Your invincibility frames are in your rolls. So the way it works is the moment you initiate the roll, so when your character leaps off their feet to go on the roll, that is the start of your invincibility frame. That's when it started, which the attacks will go through you. Now, when you land, when your shoulder hits the ground, your invincibility frame has now ended. So
Yep.
now you can receive damage again. However, most times the other person has to recoil from their swing. So you can initiate another roll, giving you another set of invincibility frames.
Mhm.
One of the biggest problems, however, with the Souls games, their hitbox is not always the way it should be.
No.
That explains a lot.
There are times when things shouldn't hit you and you get hit by it. And there's no lag switching involved, none of that. I could say roll and backstab Soul, even though on his screen there's nobody stabbing him, but it does the backstab animation and slings him forward.
What
And
is
it's
this?
like, wait a
Team
minute.
Fortress 2 and the spy's knife?
Yes. And it makes no sense. This is something that's been around for ages. There is a backstab cancel where you go to initiate the backstab, but you do, I think it's either the backstep or the parry real quick, but it goes through the backstab animation, but the person loses no health.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
wow.
is, in my opinion, always going to be connection issues with PvP and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Only for the simple
There
fact
are.
that despite anything from software could code or try and fix up, there could always be an issue between who's ever using their own internet. They could have problems with it. It could
Mhm.
have terrible internet, or they could be lag switching or whatever. So it's never going to be perfect.
No, it never will, but but this is also a known issue with their
Mhm.
games dating back to Demon Souls on the
Mhm.
PS3. So this has always been a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen it in Elden Ring, watching people that actually actively do the PvP
Yeah.
content.
By this point, it just might be a signature thing they do.
You could say that, or it could be something with the engine, and
Mm.
they just don't know how to exactly nail it down. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just the hell with it, leave it in.
Yeah.
I
You'll
mean,
have unfair deaths,
yeah, you
but
will.
they're gonna be far outweighed by
Yeah. If you
I
didn't want
fucked up.
unfair deaths, this is not the game that you're playing.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yes.
yes. S- So, um, my advice as a Souls newbie is to just give it a try, and if after a little bit you do not like it, do not force yourself to try like this game. This game is clearly not for everybody.
My only advice is before you decide to stop playing, is try two things. One, never be afraid to experiment, no matter what it is. Just give it a try. You may find out it may be something for you. Two, try it with a buddy. That may be all you need. You just might need someone just to travel with.
Or at least have someone to drop off different weapons for you to try.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's not gonna hurt.
because
It's
I did
really
that for
not.
ammo. I dropped off a couple of different weapons that I was never gonna use.
Yeah,
He,
everybody does that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
And if it's you're trying to get someone into this game, be patient with them too.
Yeah,
Because this is not exactly a game you can just pick up and play for most players. I'm sure there are a handful of people who picked up the first Dark Souls or whatever first Souls game they played and were immediately good at it because there are just some people like that out there. Generally,
my
also they're quite terrible at other things though, because that's just the way the human brain works.
yep.
my buddy, a buddy of mine, he actually tried Dark Souls, and I gave him every piece of gear in the game because I had another character that had everything already on it, and I dropped him everything from that character, and I was like, look, if you don't like it, give it back to that character,
Mm,
so I don't have to refarm it up.
mm, that's
Seems
fair.
fair.
Because you're not going to get everything in your first run through. You're going to miss
No,
things, or you're not going to be able to use a boss soul and get three things out of it first go round.
no.
So having to keep farming that up is really a pain.
Mm-hmm.
But try different things, see if you like it. Don't be afraid to ask for help or summon help. It's very easy to get help. It's easier in the later games than the beginning because you had to actually get an item and you had to beat two bosses before you even got the item to start summoning for help.
Here you can
But
relatively start making it as soon as you find your first merchant.
Mm,
yep, or the first light grass, grass you find. Uh, like we said, it's not for everyone.
No, no, no,
If
it
you're
is
a
not.
person that doesn't like a difficult or challenging game, this game is not for you.
If you prefer to be eased into a game, which I can understand, this isn't it.
mm,
Yeah, you're not gonna. This is the easiest entry to get into, but it's not gonna ease you into it.
Yeah, the
no.
tutorial literally is made to show you that you're going to die.
Yeah, and that's the thing I said. Do not be afraid of death. Even if you lose all your runes, souls, blood, whatever, don't be
sucks.
afraid.
Yeah,
It
sucks,
sucks.
but there are ways to farm them back. You can
Yeah.
go killing easier enemies. There are a couple of farming spots that work really well. Me and M
And
have used them. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
and honestly, if you feel like your level isn't cutting it, one of the biggest downfalls of the Soul series, and I did it to test it myself. I leveled myself enough to use a particular weapon. And I said, I'm going to take this as far as I can go. Upgrading your weapon, just the weapon, will see you through a lot of things.
That actually reminds
Mhm.
me of one small thing I would like to add.
Go for it.
When you are summoned into someone else's game, you don't have your full flask to heal yourself with. You get like half, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Yes.
it's half. So if you have 10, you'll only have
Right.
5. If you have 6, you'll only have 3.
But if you die, you don't lose any of your runes.
Yes.
So all your earned runes from helping somebody, you get to keep to level up with yourself. So putting your sign down to get summoned to help people is a great way to earn experience and still see farther parts of the game.
Yep.
Well, you have to be in that area yourself too.
Fair
Yes,
point,
that's
but I'm just saying, like, they can lead you through to the next boss if you're not sure how to get there. You can use it to really wander around and help out. It's just a
Oh,
nice
yes.
overall method to really find
Mhm.
your way a lot easier because you have nothing to lose.
True. And for people that do enjoy the backstabbing PvP, if you invade someone and you die, you lose nothing. If you have a million runes on you and you die invading somebody, yeah, you drop the runes in their world, but you still have your runes on you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So that's another little thing. If you want to help a buddy out and you got a lot of runes on you, you guys kind of invade each other, kill each other a couple of times, you'll boost yourself in runes fairly quickly that way. I actually did it in Dark Souls 1 with my PvP Trisha character, who is a Faith Lightning user. She wound up with 300 million runes just off of PvP. God, I was going to cry if I ever died on her and lost those runes. Well,
Anyway.
souls and that. But anyway,
Yeah.
yes. Anyway,
So
ran too long.
We'll be back next time with Tenshu. Ice will be joining us again because of, well, we need more experts on Tenshu, and it ain't me. But I hope everyone.
I
here's a
played a
quick
lot of
question I'm
games.
trying to do when we do an individual game, not an entire series. And since we
Yeah.
just discussed Elden by itself, my opinion, worth the full price.
Yes, I can agree with that.
Yes, it is worth the $70.
But
if
you're scared, wait for a sale.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, wait for a sale.
But
It's gonna go down in price probably next year or the year after that.
It's
Yeah.
definitely going to go down with a Game of the Year
but
price.
this is one of the games I find is worth the full price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say that for very few games. Like Bloodborne, worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
Elden Ring, worth every penny. The first Dark Souls, worth every penny. After that, you can kind of wait for them to go on sale.
Yeah.
Mm.
And remember, if you don't like the way a game company is going, you can speak out with your wallet.
Mhm.
Indeed.
You can keep it closed.
Yep.
But that's
Anyway.
enough of that. I would wish you all adieu. Ice, I would thank you for joining us again.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I enjoy doing this, actually.
It's great having you here. You bring a nice energy to it, and you bring a nice pronunciations. I'm like that, jackass.
That's the way to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Take care, all.